Just started university, and my beautiful tutor turns out to be the mother of my child. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1226, First Time Thief. On the other side. In Zhang Yuxi's company. After he heard what his subordinates reported to him, he nodded, looked at the other person with a very kind look, and then said, "Don't worry, you have been wronged by Lin Feng. When you return to this company, I will double compensate you. At that time, whether you want a bonus or a promotion, it's fine. But now you have to continue to be undercover in Lin Feng's company for me and send me all the data of all the research reports he has studied. Although you have only sent a unique data now, it's all too simple. I want more complex and more in-depth data. Do you understand?" After hearing his conversation, the person on the other side of the phone answered timidly, "Don't worry, Mr. Zhang, I will definitely do what you say. But, can you let me see my sister this weekend? I haven't seen her for a long time." He was already in Zhang Yuxi's company. But the other party captured his sister and insisted that he go undercover in Lin Feng's company and provide him with some data on the new technology of Lin Feng's figure. Moreover, he has been doing this for so many years and has never stopped, so it is true that he hates Zhang Yuxi from the bottom of his heart. Because Zhang Yuxi prevented his only relative from reuniting with him. This was a fatal blow to him, but he had no other choice but to listen to Zhang Yuxi. He had nowhere to go. But Zhang Yuxi was unwilling to let him have too many opportunities to see his sister. Even if it was only a chance once a month, it was precious to him. So he cherished this opportunity very much. After hearing this, Zhang Yuxi snorted coldly. "Have you forgotten? We agreed that you can see your sister once on the 15th of every month. If you see her too often, you will be less determined. I do all this for your own good. As long as you can help me defeat Lin Feng's company, you and your sister will not only be able to afford a big villa, but also a luxury car. You can also take your sister to a more suitable hospital to treat her body. Don't you think I am helping you now? I will make you richer in the future. Now I am helping your sister and inviting the best doctor to extend her life. You should thank me." Although Zhang Yuxi kidnapped the other person's sister, he did find the best doctor for the other party. Otherwise, according to this guy's current economic level, there is no way to treat his sister. But Zhang Yuxi is a despicable and shameless person. He has been using the other party to provide him with information about Lin Feng's company. Although the other party is just a researcher with less power in the research room of Lin Feng's company, he can also bring him some benefits one after another, so he has kept the other party. "I understand, Mr. Zhang. I will definitely pass on the information from Nanshan to you as soon as possible, but I hope you can keep your promise and release my sister. I will take her to a foreign country for treatment." Zhang Yuxi nodded and said, "Okay, in fact, it would be great if you can see the situation clearly. Don't waste your efforts. It won't benefit you to help Lin Feng. You want to be an upright person, then your final outcome will be to watch your sister die." After saying this, Zhang Yuxi hung up the phone. On the surface, he can be a very kind person. Established his image as very friendly. In order to be both a good person and give the other party a false impression, he immediately called the hospital and said, "That girl will keep him alive." After the call, Lisa, the secretary, came in with a fruit salad on the table and said to him, "Mr. Zhang, it's already afternoon. Eat something before you work." Zhang Yuxi seemed to be in a good mood, so he said to her, "Feed me. If you feed me, I'll eat." Secretary Lisa was slapped by him yesterday and was still in shock today. So she didn't dare to get close to him. But at this time, it seemed that Zhang Yuxi's temper was okay. So she could only carefully take the fork and pass the fruit to the other person's mouth. "Eat, Mr. Zhang." The two began to feed each other fruits. This period of time was so beautiful. But in Lin Feng's laboratory, Xiao Chen hung up the phone. He was very uneasy in his heart, because during this period of time, he gained the respect of everyone in the laboratory, and knew that Lin Feng was not a boss who would treat him badly. If he could choose again, he would rather join this company, instead of entering Zhang Yuxi's company. But if that happens, his sister will die. Now he has to betray Lin Feng for the only relative in the world. He thought silently in his heart that once his sister gets treatment, he will return from abroad and confess to Lin Feng. And he will surrender himself. At that time, He will not only be able to repay Lin Feng and compensate Lin Feng, but also drag Zhang Yuxi into the water. Isn't this a better choice for him? When he thought of this, he felt more determined. I'm sorry, Mr. Lin, if I don't do this, my sister will be gone. So I will pay the price for my things, and I hope you will not show mercy to me at that time. In this laboratory, they are generally divided into 2 sessions, day and night, to match the workload of the medicine. Therefore, Zhao Chen's time is mainly set at night. But at night, generally speaking, all researchers are sleepy. Whether they sleep during the day or at night, everyone is not full of sleep at night. So sleepiness is also inevitable. But he could take advantage of such a loophole and achieve his goal. He had to do what Zhang Yuxi had told him before. He took out a USB flash drive. He had helped Zhang Yuxi copy a document about preliminary data before. This time, the other party's request was even more excessive, and he actually wanted to access internal information. If he needed more in-depth information, he would have to go into the office of the laboratory of his research mentors to get it. Otherwise, he couldn't find that kind of internal information with just his computers. So the best chance now was to get the things while people were asleep. Otherwise, he might lose this opportunity. Zhao Chen, why don't you come and rest for a while so late at night? We still have to work overtime after 3 o'clock this evening. After hearing that he was called, Zhao Chen smiled a little guilty, and then said to the other party, don't worry about me, I will rest later, and the person who is about my sister called me just now. I am very happy that I can see my sister this month. After all, everyone in the laboratory knew about this matter. Everyone knew that he had a sister and treated her like a treasure. Under normal circumstances, no one dared to joke about his sister. Because in his heart, his sister is really very important. She is also the only relative, everyone knows. At this time, he mentioned his sister, it must be because of something important. So, no one asked any more questions. Zhao Chen, you must have a good rest later. Otherwise, if we get up to continue working tonight, if you feel sleepy, the doctor will come and will not let you go. Ha, brother, I will listen to you. Go to sleep. I will watch over here. After finally coaxing this group of colleagues to sleep, Zhao Chen took a USB flash drive, because it was relatively easy for him to enter the offices of his mentors now. But he really regretted it in his heart, and he was very uneasy. This was his first time to steal. Although last time, his friend came to copy a piece of external data to Zhang Yuxi's company. But for him, that piece of data was not so important. But this time it was different, so he was very uneasy. No, I can't be nervous. If I get nervous, I will definitely fail, so I can only face the challenge. After he finished talking to himself, he pushed the door and walked into the offices of several mentors. Chapter 1227. The last 30 seconds. There was no light on in the office, so it was very dark. When he just walked in, he was restless and unfamiliar with the office, and he almost bumped into something. After a series of bangs, the office made a series of noises. The snoring of a person outside suddenly stopped. Who is it? Why are you walking around there at night? After hearing the person's voice, Zhao Chen was actually scared, but he didn't dare to speak at this time, because he was afraid that once he spoke, the other party would probably recognize his voice, so he quickly shut up. After hearing that no one was talking, the person continued to sleep. It seemed that he was just almost woken up by him, but not all of them woke up. After thinking about this, Zhao Chen's heart was even more frightened. I hope this matter can be resolved quickly. Hurry up, let me find that internal document. As long as I can hand over the document, I can take my sister to the best hospital. This is my biggest wish in my life. God, I know I did such a wrong thing, and I will definitely come to atone for my sins in the future. But today you must let me steal the information in the company. This is the biggest bad thing I have done in my life. If these internal documents about medicines in Lin Feng's company are stolen, then for Lin Feng, the loss cannot be estimated by anyone now. And he himself knows very well that this is a criminal act, so once he does this, he will definitely bear the consequences, but he doesn't care. Because what he cares about now is the safety of his sister. It has to be said that if Lin Feng can investigate clearly in advance, then perhaps this disaster can be avoided. But Lin Feng did not do this, so this is why the information is destined to be stolen tonight, and Lin Feng himself does not know. With so many doctors and researchers in it, there is still such a weird thing. If he knew. then he would definitely not let what happened today happen. At least as a boss, he would definitely be much better than Zhang Yuxi, the unscrupulous boss. He would not use the reputation of others doing bad things to threaten whether the other party's sister could be rescued. This kind of thing is very immoral, and Lin Feng would never do it. But there is no chance to choose all this. Zhao Chen is already doing such a thing, so he has no regrets at all. In this extremely tense night, for him, using a USB flash drive to back up data is the most terrible thing he has done in the past 20 years. Just at this time, a voice suddenly came from outside. You said that it's so late at night, there should be no doctors in the laboratory building, what's the point of us going in? It seems that there are 2 security guards in the laboratory building, and they came over. After hearing the voice, Zhao Chen hurriedly turned on the computer to quickly back up the internal data inside. The voice came from outside again. One of them said, "What do you know? The more critical the moment is, the more likely we are to encounter danger in our laboratory building. So our current task is to check if there is any danger. If there is, report it in time. Otherwise, we will not be able to escape responsibility if something happens in this laboratory building." Another person thought he was too cautious and didn't know how to be so nervous, but he didn't refute anything, because this was their duty. Although there is generally no danger in this building, they are also doing routine inspections today. Someone has already walked to the floor where Zhao Chen is. This corridor is about 50 meters long, so when they walked slowly over, Zhao Chen was backing up quickly in the office. Because he turned on the computer, he was very conspicuous in the entire dark laboratory. But the file he copied still took a long time in the time he needed, about 2 or 3 minutes, but in these few minutes, it was difficult to guarantee that the 2 patrolmen outside would not come here. So he had to hurry up. Hurry up, you have to hurry up, otherwise, if the people outside find out that I'm here, they will definitely be suspicious. Because the security guards outside, they are not only here to check if there is anything unusual in this building. Similarly, they also know who is in the prepared office. Because there are only a few researchers in this building, they know it is inevitable. But if they find Zhao Chen, who shouldn't be in the office, is found, then they will definitely be suspicious. As for what will happen next, they don't know. If this matter is reported to the higher-ups, then Zhao Chen will really be finished. Under Zhao Chen's prayers, it finally took only 30 seconds to see the end. But the footsteps outside were getting closer and closer. At this moment, he could no longer care whether the other party would come. He quickly took off his clothes and put them on the screen of this computer. He wanted to block the light from the computer. As long as the computer screen does not emit light, then the other party should not know what he is doing here. Sure enough, behind the computer screens around him, 2 patrolmen passed by the window. They shone their flashlights in and saw several researchers sleeping on the experimental table. They did not disturb them and left the place carefully and quietly. After the other party left, Chen breathed a sigh of relief, then took off his clothes and looked at the USB drive again. The mobile phones on it had been backed up. He was ejecting the USB drive safely and breathed a sigh of relief when he held it in his hand. Now that the important internal data has been obtained, it's time to give it to Zhang Yuxi. I hope he can abide by the agreement and not deceive me. Because every time, the process of allowing him to see his sister is very difficult. If he did not complete any of Zhang Yuxi's tasks, it would be difficult for him to see his sister. So over the years, he has changed from an experimenter in a small research building to a researcher now. It is not entirely because of his sister that he has such a great motivation to make him so powerful. If it weren't for his sister, he might still be in his original position, being a not-so-outstanding experimenter. Just as he finished copying the files in the computer and was about to turn off the computer, he heard 2 footsteps outside again. Chapter 1228, Vajra Indestructible Body. I just said that there seems to be a light in our room. Which computer do you think is not turned off? Even if the computer is not turned off, what does it have to do with you? It's none of our business, and it's not our business. But one of the 2 people happened to be very curious. So when he heard another teammate say that he didn't want to come, he immediately showed a look of confusion and said to him, "What do you know? If we don't go and take a look this time, what if something happens to you?" And as far as I know, the doctors inside usually don't turn on their computers, because it will be difficult to manage data. We are also doing this for the good of the company. I believe your dispatching company will not blame us after knowing it. After hearing what he said, the other party had to nod his head and said, "Well, Since you said so, then we can only do this. Originally very curious, when they came to the door of the laboratory again, they saw Xiao Chen coming out. And he was holding something in his hand, but Xiao Chen was a smart man, so he was holding a document in his hand to cover it up. He didn't take the USB drive directly into his hand, but even so, the two patrolmen were still a little suspicious. Mr. Xiao Chen, why are you here? You are not sleeping and working overtime at this late night. You know, there are more than one person working overtime in this laboratory. If you want to work overtime, everyone will work together. But everyone is sleeping, how could he be busy here alone? So everyone was suspicious. Facing the doubts of the two people, he just smiled and said, it's because my teammates are already asleep, so I can only take out this one, the information needed outside. If it needs to be improved at that time, I have to take it back and do it again, so I don't deserve to work overtime tonight. After hearing what he said, the other two patrolmen looked at each other. They didn't know whether they should believe what the other said. But Xiao Chen has never been a bad person, so there should be no problem. The two nodded and said, if that's the case, then we won't ask any more questions. But it's so late, Mr. Chen, you must pay more attention to rest. Xiao Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the two did not question him carefully, otherwise, it would be difficult for him to make up other excuses. If he alarmed his teammates in the laboratory, it would be difficult to explain. He could only nod and say, thank you very much. I'll go out first. When I come back, do you need me to bring you a midnight snack? The two guards shook their heads and said, how can this be possible? Mr. Chen, we are patrolling, and you are a research expert. How can we take your things? Don't worry, this matter tonight is nothing, we won't tell anyone about it. Xiao Chen was naturally willing to believe the promise. So after saying goodbye to the two patrols, he pretended to do an experiment, and then went down to call Zhang Yuxi. Because he had to tell the other party the news as soon as possible. But Zhang Yuxi obviously would not wait for his call at this time, but was sleeping in his arms on the bed. He was very annoyed when he was woken up by the phone. Hello? What's the matter? If you don't have anything important to do today and call me, then you can't expect to see your sister tomorrow. He just lost his temper and cursed, which made Xiao Chen feel very unhappy. Because he took the risk to send the things out. However, Xiao Chen not only did not get the things, but Zhang Yuxi's arrival threatened him. For him, the resentment accumulated and his heart broke out again. He wanted to say to Zhang Yuxi on the phone, I have got the things you want. I just want to ask whether you have a courier for you or send someone to take it. Facing Zhang Yuxi, he certainly didn't have much interest in continuing to entangle with the other party, so he just made it clear. After saying this, Zhang Yuxi gave a direct answer and said to him, just express it to me directly. It won't take half a day anyway. Hurry up and don't delay it. That's it. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Chen did not put down his phone for a long time. He was shaking while holding the phone. Because he hated Zhang Yuxi's attitude towards him very much, because he had no way to take his sister back from the other party's hands, and he didn't know which hospital his sister was in. Every time he saw his sister, Zhang Yuxi would move his sister's location again, so even if he knew the hospital his sister was in last month, as long as he didn't see her this month, it meant that they were transferred to another hospital, and sometimes even transferred abroad. So Xiao Chen hated Zhang Yuxi very much in his heart, but he had to submit. This made him have a hatred in his heart. As long as his sister was rescued, he would never let this scum go. He breathed a sigh of relief. Then he put the USB drive in his pocket and went back to the laboratory. After all, it was late at night. How could any courier deliver the goods to him? After returning, he found that the teammates who had slept on the laboratory table had all woken up. After seeing them, he nodded, sat down, and said to them, I just went out for a while, but the barbecue restaurant outside is closed. I will bring you food next time. After all, in front of his teammates, Xiao Chen has always been a very gentle person. After saying this, everyone nodded and did not doubt his words. I didn't expect it. Xiao Chen, you are really indestructible. Don't you want to sleep so late at night? We may have slept for a while before getting up. Do you want to sleep for a while now? It seems that you have been outside and haven't come back just now. Facing the concern of his teammates, Xiao Chen just shook his head slightly. He has always been very gentle in this laboratory building, So what he said made everyone feel that he was very kind. Now he has become a buddy with the people in these laboratory buildings. Thinking that he had betrayed not only Lin Feng but also so many good brothers in order to save his sister, he felt very guilty and was in a daze for a while. A teammate next to him pushed him. Then he asked him suspiciously, "Why are you in a daze?" "Xiao Chen, we have already started to distribute the medicines. We have to report to Boss Lin Feng after we finish it in 7 days. Don't mess up. You don't have any big problems normally. I think you must be too tired. Why don't you go to sleep for a while now?" After all, this task was very serious and could not make any mistakes. Moreover, Lin Feng had solved most of the problems himself before. And if they, the experimental personnel, could not do it in the next period of time, then they had no right to deal with Xiao Chen's casual behavior. Everyone had a little resistance in their hearts, but no one said much. After all, they were all good brothers. Xiao Chen shook his head and said, "I'll go wash my face with cold water, and then come back to work with you." He could indeed go back to sleep, but he felt guilty towards these people, so he wanted to compensate them in another way. Everyone nodded, and no one forced him to do so. After all, it was up to him to choose. What's more, everyone recognized Xiao Chen's professional ability. Chapter 1229, Good Intentions Lead to Wrong Actions. After Xiao Chen went back to wash his face with cold water, he continued to come. Soon they were divided into several groups. Then they made simple pills with a good ratio of the first batch of medicines that Lin Feng got, but they were not yet formed and needed to be processed the next day. After doing all this, it was already 6 o'clock in the morning. "Everyone, go back to sleep after get off work. You must not have rested enough in the laboratory before, especially Xiao Chen, you are the most tired." Xiao Chen smiled very shyly, but he still felt a lot of pressure in his heart. He was full of guilt for all this. He had no choice but to leave and arrived at a courier station and found the person inside. "Hello, I want to send a courier." The other party looked at him and nodded. "What courier?" He took out the USB flash drive and saw the other party replied, "Send this to company." After saying that, he started filling out the form. After finishing all this, he realized that more than 10 minutes had passed. He sighed and walked home. "I hope this will all end soon. I really don't want to do these stupid things anymore. If there is a chance to regret, I really want to seize it. I wonder if Boss Lin Feng will be very disappointed when he knows that I did all this." Xiao Chen couldn't sleep all night, and he came to the laboratory building the next morning. He found that an important person had come. That person was Lin Feng's very good friend. He was also one of the investors of this experimental project, Li Tian. After seeing that everyone was here, Li Tian came over, coughed, and said to everyone, "I know you are all the best researchers in the entire laboratory building. This time, our initial plan is to research the first batch of drugs in 6 days, take it to the press conference, and then sell it for the first time. So I heard that the first batch of drugs had already started the final test last night. I think it won't affect you if I come to see it this time." It must be said that when Li Tian is serious, he is really different from his usual appearance of a dandy boy. If Lin Feng saw it here, they would definitely be very shocked. They have never seen Li Tian look so serious. Everyone shook their heads and answered loudly, "It won't affect you." Li Tian nodded, and he was very happy in his heart. This is just a very simple task. Lin Feng also sent him to keep an eye on this group of researchers. Will there be any mistakes? There is no such thing at all. He is very confident in himself and the group of researchers under his eyes. He waved his hand and said to all the research experts very kindly, "You all sit down. It seems that you will not start work in half an hour. I bought some food for you this time." After that, he asked someone to bring the food up. But one of the researchers couldn't help but stand up and said, "We have to go to a special dining place to eat. This place is an experimental site. If we want to eat, we have to go outside. If we go back and forth like this, we will probably miss the working time. Thank you for your kindness, Mr. Li. Let's go to work first." Li Tian originally wanted to give these experimental personnel a good impression on the first day he came to the company, but he didn't expect that his kindness would make a mistake. In the past few years, they didn't know the situation of the laboratory building, but they bought things. He sighed, and then said with some regret, "If I had known this, I might as well give each of you a red envelope directly." After hearing what he said, everyone became even more anxious. "No, Mr. Li, you don't have to give us a red envelope. You are an investor in our company. This project is also yours, so we should research it as soon as possible. It's also right. To be honest, Lin Feng did nothing wrong by letting Li Tian come to greet these researchers this time, although it may not be very good. But everyone also likes Li Tian very much. This kind of investor with no value is not like some other rich second generations who also put on a temper of a young master in front of these researchers. Sure enough, people who can be friends with their boss Lin Feng have good personalities. Everyone was very happy, except Xiao Chen, who couldn't be happy in the crowd. Because of the treatment from Lin Feng, and the better Lin Feng and his friends behaved, the more guilty he felt. It seemed that he really couldn't continue to betray Lin Feng. But for his sister, he had no other choice. Shaking his head, he walked up to the lab table and silently began to analyze the data from the test last night, because the first batch of pills would be produced today. Some researchers who came over began to discuss Li Tian, who had just appeared. I didn't expect that our investor has such a good temper. Don't you think that he is a friend of our boss? If you think about it, he is naturally a good person like our boss. We can do research under such a group of bosses. The project is really great. Unlike some other people, their requirements are really high, and the funds given are not enough. Although this project is quite novel and a little urgent. But these two bosses are really good. These people were discussing Lin Feng and others one after another. Xiao Chen simply pretended not to hear anything and buried his head in work. But after a while, before noon, Li Tian came again, and he bought things for everyone. This made everyone feel very interesting. After putting down the things, he called them. Lin Feng, don't worry, I have no problem being a human being here. Your scientific researchers are working very hard to produce the first batch of drugs. Don't worry, even if you can't come, I will keep an eye on them for you. There is no problem with these people. After hearing Li Tian talking to Lin Feng, everyone secretly gave a thumbs up. You know, if Lin Feng came to the site to test himself, he would generally be much stricter than the investor who knew nothing in front of him. He would never be like Li Tian, who not only knew nothing, but also bought them so much food and gave them red envelopes. So everyone thought that Li Tian in front of them was really a good person. It was precisely because of this that everyone worked harder and continued to produce the first batch of drugs in the laboratory, but said they didn't know. This was originally the intention of Lin Feng and Li Tian. In front of this group of people, they didn't intend to be so strict. This was the first time Lin Feng discussed this plan with Li Tian, but it was completed very well. It was because Li Tian was originally a second-generation rich man, so he acted very well, and everyone was willing to believe it, but they really didn't know how to test this batch of drugs. But in fact, although Li Tian was walking around in front of them just now, he was secretly looking at these drugs, and took some photos and sent them to Lin Feng. Chapter 1230 South Railway Station. When it was almost time to get off work, Xiao Chen went to the bathroom. And at this time, he suddenly received a call, and after answering the phone, he said anxiously, Zhang Yuxi, what do you want to talk to me about? I'm in the experiment now. If you have something to say, please speak quickly. I have to go out. He felt that Zhang Yuxi took the initiative to find him. There must be something important, either because of his sister, or because his plan failed. Before hearing Zhang Yuxi's voice, he was very anxious in his heart, and he didn't know which reason. After he finished speaking, Zhang Yuxi said to him, I have read the USB drive you sent yesterday. The information in it is very complete. You did a good job. This afternoon, after you find a way to collapse at the South Railway Station, I will send someone to pick you up and take you to your sister's hospital. Do you understand? After hearing what he said, Xiao Chen's face showed a happy expression. He didn't expect that he would be able to see his sister so soon. This month is another chance to see her, so how could he not be happy? It must be because the USB drive he sent contained the data the other party wanted, so he was able to get the other party's tolerance. He nodded and said excitedly, Don't worry, I will definitely go to the South Railway Station this afternoon. Xiao Chen hung up the phone excitedly and shed tears. He was very grateful for this unexpected opportunity to see his sister. As for the deep affection for betraying Lin Feng, he had temporarily thrown it aside. Because he knew that it was useless to think about it now, after leaving the bathroom, he returned to the laboratory building. His mind flew to the time to meet his sister. In his eyes, time became very slow, and he wished he could get off work and rush to the South Railway Station. During the time Li Tian stayed, He had already seen the appearance of these people, so he turned around and left when he thought there was no problem. As soon as he left, he called Lin Feng to report. It was no big deal, and he drove back after he finished talking. But when he opened his eyes and was on the road, he found the shadow of a person in the back world, and that person happened to be Xiao Chen, who everyone in the laboratory building had a very good impression of and he also thought was okay. How did this guy get out? Shouldn't he continue to study drugs in the laboratory building at this time? Why did he come out at this time? He was a little confused. After asking this question, he was about to get off the car to take a look, but soon a car came from behind, and the other party got in the car directly. The key is that this car seems to be a business car of a very rich person, and it is comparable to his own car. He doesn't think this is a taxi that Xiao Chen can take, but it doesn't seem like the other party's own car. It is said that this guy has a sister, and all the money he earns has been spent on the other party. So he should be a very poor talent. Li Tian's curiosity made him involuntarily follow the other party, and followed Xiao Chen all the way to Nanhu Station. After arriving at this place, Xiao Chen got off the car directly. Li Tian felt strange. Why is this guy here? But there were many people at the South Railway Station, and he couldn't get off the train to follow Xiao Chen. It seemed a bit abnormal, so he turned around and left. On the way back, he called Lin Feng. There's indeed nothing wrong with the researchers in your company, but today I saw a phenomenon. That is, there is a person who is a little strange and ran to the South Railway Station. After hearing this, Lin Feng was willing to be humble and curious. If it is Xiao Chen, then this matter is a bit strange. Li Tian is not really stupid. He has been alert to such things since he was a child, so he couldn't help but say to Lin Feng, "Do you suspect that the other party actually has some purpose and is in that place? Now is the first critical step in the research of the drug. How could he leave the laboratory building casually?" Lin Feng also had a little doubt about Li Tian's suspicion. After all, he trusted some researchers in this laboratory building, but if he was really betrayed by the other party, that would not be a solution. He nodded and said, "Well, I'll ask him later. But it shouldn't be a big deal. He's a very honest person and I trust him." After all, Li Tian had seen his family doing business since he was a child, so he also understood some things about the business world. He still felt that this matter must be investigated. Lin Feng finally had to hand over the power to him. "Go and check it. If you really find anything, tell me." Lin Feng was not very willing to doubt his people, so he just listened to Li Tian's proposal, but he never expected that Li Tian would find out about Xiao Chen in the end. But that's all for later. Lin Feng didn't go to the laboratory building these 2 days. He gave this power to Li Tian because he had more important things to do. After arriving at the South Railway Station, he was still waiting at the same place as before. After waiting for half an hour, someone suddenly appeared behind him, and then a black hood was directly covered over his head. After that, he was knocked unconscious. When he woke up again, he found himself in a dark small room with no one here. He didn't see his sister, but he was a little anxious in his heart. "Zhang Yuxi, where are you? Get out here quickly, my sister is here." Because in the past, when Xiao Chen arrived at a place, he would definitely let him see his sister. But now it's different. He didn't know why the other party called him to this place. Then he was tied up again. He could only kick the door very hard, hoping that the people outside would hear his voice and come to call him, but after a while, the people who came in kicked him to the ground. Then he said to him, "Our Zhang Yuxi is very satisfied with your behavior this time, but he is very angry about one thing." After hearing what he said, Xiao Chen looked at the man with the steel rod and said in fear, "What did he say? Why did he treat me like this time? Ha, do you really not know, or are you pretending not to know? Didn't you hear what our boss said? You were too slow this time, so let us teach you a lesson." Xiao Chen gritted his teeth, but he did not turn against the other party at this time, but asked, "Then do you think if I am taught a lesson by him, can I see my sister?" This is the main purpose of his coming. After hearing his question, the men with steel rods laughed, as if they were laughing at his stupidity and ignorance. "Boy, we are not saying anything to you. Why are you so stupid? Do you think that Zhang will let you see your sister after asking us to teach you a lesson? What a fool, you have been used by Zhang for so long, and you still don't realize it at all." Chapter 1231, It's Better to Do It Today. If it weren't for these two hooligans, if they were willing to tell Xiao Chen the truth before beating him with steel bars, then Xiao Chen might never know that Zhang Yuxi is such a bad person. He roared angrily, "How can he be like this? I have already given him what he wants, but he won't let me see my sister. I want to see my sister now. No matter what, you go and tell him now, otherwise, I will tell everyone in Lin Feng's company about all this." It must be said that he had to do this because he was forced to do so by Zhang Yuxi. If he had a choice, how could he make such a desperate decision? He has done such a bad thing against his conscience, but he still can't get the reward he deserves, so he is very angry. But what's the use of being angry? These hooligans didn't come to see him for nothing. Each of them held a steel bar in his hand and kept knocking on his palm. They estimated that they would start the fight in a while, but before they did, they really wanted to let Zhao Chen in front of them know that he was going to die. This was also a pleasure for them. "You may not know yet, but we didn't let you leave on foot this time. The boss above has explained it. He said that we two should beat you half to death, and then he would go to the hospital. Don't you want to see your sister very much? Very good. The boss said that as long as you are beaten half to death, you can see your sister, because in this way, you can live in the same hospital with your sister." Zhao Chen's eyes were full of deep anger and resentment. He didn't expect that the other party would do things so decisively. Now he hated Zhang Yuxi very much in his heart, and felt extremely regretful. Why did he not see it clearly before and help someone like Zhang Yuxi do bad things? Even if he wanted to escape now, he had no chance, because these people were guarding in front of him. If it was 1 or 2 people, it would be easy to deal with. But in addition to the 1 or 2 men with steel bars, there were other big men surrounding him, and if he tried to escape, they would rush up and attack him. "If you let me go, I can find someone and give you twice the price. I need to leave now. I can double the benefits your boss gave you in the future." He said this without any confidence, but he pretended to be very confident on the surface. It looked like the truth, and it really fooled the people in front of him temporarily. One of them pushed a few dazed people next to him. "What are you doing? Have you forgotten everything? The boss said that you can't believe anything he said, and have you ever seen a rich man like him working for others? He was used by the boss, and his sister hasn't even been found yet. Even if she is found, she can only spend every day in the ward. You actually believe his lies and think that he can give you double the reward. What do you think?" After saying this, the other thugs with steel bars all walked away with steel bars in their hands. One of them pushed Zhao Chen to the ground, rushed up and punched Zhao Chen in the face. "You stinky boy, you dare to lie to us and treat us as monkeys. It seems that if I don't teach you a lesson, you really don't know what will happen to you now." Anyway, they all wanted to teach this person a lesson, so they all used their strength and hit him in the face. "Everyone, beat him up and let him know what the consequences of deceiving us are." One by one, they took steel bars and hit Zhao Chen on the head, stomach, back, and legs. Anyway, they beat him wherever they could. And this lasted for 10 minutes. You know, in these 10 minutes, a normal person could be beaten to death. But they were still not blinded by anger. One of them pulled the other companions and said, "Do you want to beat him to death? Have you forgotten that the boss has ordered that we just beat him up and vent his anger on him? Leave the rest of the others, carry him to the hospital, now." After hearing this, they all stopped and threw away the steel bars and other tools in their hands. They said to Zhao Chen fiercely, "You are lucky, kid. You can still breathe today. This is because the boss has given you a chance to live because you have been a dog for him for so many years. You should feel lucky." After the others left, a sparse sound was heard outside soon, and at this time, one of the people who came in from outside drove a stretcher in front and behind and put it on the ground. After taking a look at the bloody man lying on the ground, some people couldn't help but smack their lips. That's really pitiful. He was beaten so badly. No wonder someone has already booked a bed in our hospital. It turns out that someone here has an accident. The 2 people from the hospital quickly lifted the head on the bile rack and sent it to the ambulance. At this time, the gangsters who beat people had already escaped in the morning. After the ambulance left the hospital, a gangster came out. Then he called Zhang Yuxi, "Boss, we have done it. Zhao Chen was beaten up by us and has been sent to the ambulance. It is estimated that he will arrive at the hospital in a while." After hearing it, Zhang Yuxi nodded and smiled. It seemed that the other party was still drinking, and the voice was a little loud, but he was very happy. Because he could teach a lesson to the people who worked for him and let them know that it would never be possible to betray him. He thought it was very simple and there was nothing wrong with it. "You did a good job. Don't tell anyone about what happened today. Got it?" The gangster nodded very understandingly and said with a look of assurance. Don't worry, boss, don't you know that we are keeping our mouths shut? Boss, it's this month's bonus. Can you give me more? Zhang Yuxi laughed. You guys always want to add 1 month to your work. I have already agreed to the bonus as a reward. What does this month mean? By the way, it's better to come here tonight. I'm waiting for you at Qianlong Entertainment. After you come here, you can just be cool and carefree with me. After all, after getting the very important information of Lin Feng's company, Zhang Yuxi naturally wanted to celebrate. And every time he celebrated, he naturally had to bring his men with him, but these men threatened him when he was in a very good mood, asking him to give them more bonuses. This was a very bad thing for him. He was originally very happy. At this time, this kind of thing suddenly happened. If he didn't teach these people a lesson first, it really was not worthy of his famous name. However, when these gangsters heard that their boss Zhang Yuxi was willing to pay for them and let them go and have fun, they were of course very happy. They immediately nodded happily and answered excitedly. Boss, we will be there soon. We will drive over now. Please wait for us. After hanging up the phone, they all rode their own motorcycles and drove towards the entertainment city. Chapter 1232, 30 Years of Old Wine. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Yuxi sneered. A lackey next to him handed him a cigarette, lit it, and said in a very flattering manner, Boss, how come some of their gangsters are thrown away after being used once or twice, so as to avoid causing trouble for us? After looking at him, Zhang Yuxi sneered and said, What do you know? Although these people always take advantage of us, they are really good to use. It would be great if I could keep using them to do things for me. Then I will naturally have clean hands, and they will take the blame for all the dirty things. What do I have to lose? After hearing this, the lackey's eyes turned as if he had some ideas, and then he began to say to Zhang Yuxi, But boss, if this goes on for such a long time and you are always threatened by these people, then you will not feel good either. Have you forgotten? These people are a group of greedy guys. They just want to keep asking for more money from you. Don't you think it would be better if we could replace them with a few gangsters with the money? After all, these people who are struggling now are all in a very difficult situation, so as long as they are paid. Then there are still a bunch of people waiting for Zhang Yuxi to choose, but Zhang Yuxi naturally has his own plans and ideas. He shook his head and took another sip of wine, looking a little drunk. He pointed to the bottle of wine that was more than 30 years old and placed aside. He asked the lackey to bring it to him. Give me that bottle of wine. I'm going to treat those people to a good drink later. Although the lackey didn't understand why he did this, he was still very obedient and quickly stood up and took the bottle of wine. After seeing this bottle of wine, Zhang Yuxi chuckled. Do you know why I have such a big suspicion of Xiao Chen, who has been my assistant for so many years, and I have to beat him to the hospital? The lackey thought for a while and immediately said, That's because he deserves it the most. If he didn't plot against you, the boss, then you wouldn't be so ruthless. The lackey's words made Zhang Yuxi shake his head. Zhang Yuxi looked at him with a mocking look and said, I knew you would think so. Almost everyone would think that I am good enough to my subordinates, so they would keep working for me. It is possible that they will become more and more demanding and even like to betray me. You will think that I will only think about getting rid of those who have different intentions, such as Xiao Chen. As Zhang Yuxi spoke, he began to review his previous business. Maybe because he was drunk, he said a lot today, and the lackey next to him kept listening to what he said with a smile. After all, when his boss was talking about the boss's past, if he, the lackey, didn't listen carefully, it would be disrespectful to the boss. But after listening to these words, he couldn't help but sigh. It seems that there is indeed a story hidden in the heart behind every successful man. But why did the other party tell him so much? When he was puzzled, suddenly there was a sound outside the door. It was the sound of several bartenders persuading people. You can't come in now. People inside are still drinking. And if you are looking for someone, do you have an appointment? After all, this is a high-end entertainment city, so if you want to come in, you naturally need to have an appointment and a guarantee before you can come in. Otherwise, how can we ensure the safety of the guests here? The people who came were exactly the ones Zhang Yuxi had found. The gangsters directly slapped the bartender in the face. Didn't you see us? We are the men under the boss Zhang Yuxi. Coming to see him is like going home. Who are you to dare to wait in front of us? If you don't get out of here, I will kick you away. After hearing what he said, The bartender quickly covered his face. He didn't expect these people to be so fierce when they beat people. At this point, he didn't dare to hide his feelings from the people in front of him, so he stepped aside. The thug pointed at the bartender and threatened him for a while, then he walked in. "Boss, we are here, is there anything fun here? Are there any girls?" After these thugs came in, they just sat on the sofa as if they were back home. Seeing that Zhang Yuxi was a little drunk, they didn't hesitate and directly called the sister who was accompanying Zhang Yuxi to come to their side. Then they had to drink with him. At this time, Zhang Yuxi suddenly opened his eyes. He just squinted for a while. He didn't expect that these thugs under his command would sit down casually after they came. He hadn't asked them to do it yet. He said that the lackey next to him was much more polite than them. At this time, the lackey also looked at these thugs very unhappily, and then wanted to complain to Zhang Yuxi. After Zhang Yuxi looked at him, he told him not to speak. The lackey was very aggrieved and stood by. At this time, Zhang Yuxi opened the bottle of wine that had been around for more than 30 years. They smelled the fragrance of the red wine. Zhang Yuxi said to them, "Do you know how expensive this wine is?" After hearing what Zhang Yuxi said, one of the gangsters took a puff of cigarette and blew out a layer of smoke rings. Then he replied, "Boss, the wine you took out must be worth tens of thousands, and there must be hundreds of thousands. We can enjoy this blessing because of you, so we want to try this wine." Zhang Yuxi laughed, then looked at him, but still sobered up the wine, then pulled out the cork and put the wine next to it. He said to them that it was wine. "Do you know how to drink this wine?" The gangster next to him laughed well, as if he and Zhang Yuxi were brothers, and it didn't seem like a relationship between superiors and subordinates at all. "Boss, how else can you drink this wine? Just drink it directly. Isn't this wine meant to be drunk anyway?" Several people looked at the bottle of wine in Zhang Yuxi's hand with envy. Zhang Yuxi didn't waste any words, and directly poured the wine into several cups, and then gave them when they wanted to drink. Zhang Yuxi reminded them, "You know you have done a lot for me during this period of time, so I want to thank you in particular." The gangsters nodded happily. They were extremely happy when they thought that their boss would not only treat them to drink, but also that they would get money in a short while. Someone quietly stood up and bowed to him as if to set an example. And he was very generous and said a paragraph of gratitude. Zhang Yuxi nodded and asked him to sit down. "Drink it, I will have something to say to you after you finish drinking." Several gangsters drank the red wine in one gulp. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1233. The wine is poisonous. At this time, Zhang Yuxi's eyes were very deep. He looked at them and said, "Do you know? I actually put something in this wine. Once this medicine breaks out, your body and mind will have problems." When they heard that there was something in the wine, the gangsters were all scared and almost broke their courage. They immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed to him. "Boss, why did you do this? We were wrong. We shouldn't have taken the initiative to drink this bottle of wine. Please, boss, don't let us die. We will go to the hospital now, and we will definitely be able to wash out this medicine." Looking at their useless appearance, the lackey snorted beside them, and then snatched the remaining bottle of wine back by himself, and then poured a glass for Zhang Yuxi. But Zhang Yuxi stopped him from doing so. Zhang Yuxi took another cup, poured another cup for the lackey, and then handed it to the lackey. After seeing this scene, the lackey was completely shocked. He didn't know why he would end up like this. "Boss, I don't know what I did wrong." The lackey had indeed worked diligently for him in the past few years, and had not made any big mistakes. He did not dare to have any thoughts of betraying him, but in the end he had to give him a cup of poison wine. He didn't know why he ended up like this. Zhang Yuxi patted his shoulder, and the lackey immediately said to him trembling with fear, "Boss, what did I do wrong?" Before he finished speaking, Zhang Yuxi took the wine and poured it directly into his mouth. After pouring it, he laughed and said, "I lied to you when you came here. There is nothing in this wine at all." After saying this, the lackey ran over as if he had let out a sigh of relief, and hurried to say good things to Zhang Yuxi. And he also blamed himself, "Boss, I really deserved to die just now. What if you would give me those dirty things? How could I think like this? Boss, You are my second parents. Watching him typing with his right hand is exaggerating Cation. Zhang Cation laughed heartily, and then pointed at the dumbfounded thugs on the ground and said, all of you get up, didn't you hear what I said just now? There's actually nothing in this wine, it's all lied to you. But you can see clearly, the men I need are like the man in front of me, not like you guys who are equal to me after you come here, who gives you the qualifications. When the thugs heard that this was just a farce, they all breathed a sigh of relief. But at this time, one of the thugs began to feel a stomachache. Ouch, my stomach hurts so much, what's wrong with me? Didn't you say there's nothing wrong with this wine? After hearing that the wine this person drank had problems, the others began to tremble with fear, and even Zhang Cation's lackey next to him was trembling with fear. But he didn't panic like these thugs, but looked at Zhang Cation next to him. Because he knew that if Zhang Cation wanted to kill them, he would never go through so much trouble. Because there are many ways to kill people more quickly, so today his idea must be to torture these gangsters. Sure enough, Zhang Cation poured himself a glass of red wine next to him, and then drank it without any problem. At this time, even the lackeys could not figure out what Zhang Cation's idea was. At this time, Zhang Cation said coldly to these people, you will naturally have to bear the mistakes you made, so I am very grateful to you for helping me beat Xiao Chen into the hospital, but it is time for you to go to the hospital next. After saying this, Zhang Cation sat down and continued to drink very ruthlessly. The lackey next to him immediately reacted that this had nothing to do with him. It was just that he was scared just now, so he thought that his boss Zhang Cation would take action against him. In fact, Zhang Cation just wanted to deal with these gangsters, so he immediately sat down and started pouring wine for Zhang Cation, ordering food for him, etc. After the girls who were scared away left, the entertainment club arranged for other people to come. These people rolled on the ground in pain. Zhang Cation looked coldly at the lackeys beside them, and felt that they deserved it. In addition, the girls in the entertainment club were already accustomed to such scenes, and they were pouring wine for Zhang Cation as if no one was around. After nearly half an hour, after these confused people were in agony, Zhang Cation sent them to the hospital. It was also a very painful lesson for them today. I guess they won't dare to do it next time. Since Xiao Chen disappeared, Lin Feng's people soon made a move. The first person to discover it was naturally Li Yan, who had contact with him very early. He called Lin Feng. Then he asked, Lin Feng, your researcher's name seems to be Xiao Chen? He seems to have not returned my call for half a day. Generally speaking, how should we deal with such things? When Lin Feng received Li Yan's call, he was stunned. At this time, he and Zhang Yuxi were eating street food outside. After hearing what Li Yan said, he said with some doubt, you are not mistaken, he should not be so careless, he must be delayed by something. Wait a moment, if I still can't get through to him, then I will call you in person later. After all, Lin Feng was holding the phone in one hand to answer Li Yan, and the other hand was feeding Zhang Yuxi. The two looked very sweet, and some people around them were secretly envious of them. Among them was a young couple. The girl said to the boy, did you see that? How can other people's boyfriends be so considerate? They even feed their girlfriends. Can't you learn from them? After saying this, he asked his boyfriend to follow Lin Feng without saying a word. After seeing how considerate Lin Feng was, the boyfriend who was playing games had no choice but to do the same as Lin Feng, very impatiently. He fed his girlfriend a bunch of barbecue. While Lin Feng was on the phone, he watched Zhang Yuxi like a little squirrel, eating the barbecue he fed him obediently. He was also very happy in his heart, and felt that it was quite comfortable to live this kind of life with Zhang Yuxi. Seeing Lin Feng Jiao making a phone call, Zhang Yuxi didn't need Lin Feng Jiao to continue feeding her, but could eat by herself, and said to Lin Feng truthfully, husband, just go and deal with your things. At that time, seeing that Zhang Yuxi was so considerate of him, he was very happy to touch her hair, and then said gently, wait for me for a while, I'll call Li Yan and reply to the things in the laboratory, and then come back to accompany you. You eat slowly first. Zhang Yuxi nodded, and waited for Lin Feng very obediently. Chapter 1234, Falling at a Critical Moment. Hubby, don't come back too soon. I can wait for you here alone. Go and tell your story as soon as possible. Zhang Yuxi said obediently. But after walking away, he heard the envious voice from Li Yan on the phone, your girlfriend is really good to you, unlike the one in my family, who hasn't contacted me for a long time. After hearing what he said, Lin Feng couldn't help but smiled and said, That's because you didn't contact her. You said that you must achieve results this time to prove that you have business acumen. I say you don't have to be like this. You will inherit your father's business in the future and become a holding company. Isn't it good to be the actual boss? You have to learn these things by yourself. You didn't take it so seriously when you were in school. What's the point of learning these things now? After hearing what he said, the other party said a few words. Don't talk nonsense. I made up my mind this time, and it's not easy to follow you. If I didn't get along with you, not only can I not see my dad, I also have a girlfriend who I can't explain to. She will definitely laugh at me for being useless. I'm not like this. Lead by. Lin Feng nodded, knowing that his childhood friend was really going to work hard, so he stopped making sarcastic remarks. Then do your best. By the way, the topic just now crossed over. I remember that I told you that Xiao Chen is missing. You should go find him. If you don't find him, who knows where he went? We can't just watch someone disappear and do nothing. Although this was his first time dealing with company matters, he had a good impression of the employees of these companies, because every researcher was quite respectful to him as a boss. Lin Feng shook his head. After listening to him say so many heartfelt words, Lin Feng felt that his childhood friend was too simple. In the past, although his childhood friend was a rich kid who was idle and spent his days drinking and partying, he had basically heard and done a lot of bad things. But he really had no experience in these things in the workplace. I said, why don't you know how to think differently? Look at the business friends your dad brought home before. Did everyone praise you for being obedient, sensible, and smart since you were a child? They all wanted to please your dad. Now that you have gone to the laboratory, aren't those people flattering you by saying bad things? I told you to just listen, but you took it seriously. Do you need to do that? After hearing what he said, Li Yan briefly fell into a state of autism. Then he shook his head after a while and said, no, I don't believe what you said. You are lying to me, right? How can you say such a thing? I do admit that my dad's friends and partners are deliberately saying good things to my dad, so they are trying to please me, but when I went to that laboratory today, they were polite to me, but they didn't flatter me. This is still a moral distinction. But how could they, as scientific researchers, be so vulgar? Lin Feng almost laughed out loud. His childhood friend was really naive. If this person took over a company directly now, he still doesn't know what the company will look like. It is estimated that there are all kinds of people flattering him every day. As his good friend, Lin Feng must remind him. You don't know this, do you? I have been running the company for so many years, of course I have seen all kinds of flatterers. You still think it is the same as before. The things your father brought home are no longer popular. Their way of flattering has changed. This is called a change of dynasty, do you understand? If you don't believe it, go to your father's company now and see what they will say about you. After hearing what he said, Li Yan completely fell into a state of autism, and then he recovered after a long time. No, Lin Feng, didn't we agree to discuss Xiao Chen's matter together just now? Why is it about me again? Okay, I admit that I am indeed a person with no brains, but you don't have to keep saying that, you make me lose face. After all, the two have been good friends for many years and brothers since childhood, so their relationship and feelings are not comparable to ordinary friends. Lin Feng said so many embarrassing words. Even in front of him, the other party would not be really angry, because the relationship between the two of them was close enough. But after the disappearance, Lin Feng was not obviously worried. He calmed down for a while, and then said to the other party, I think Xiao Chen must have his own things to do. His boss also told me when he was in the laboratory. Once it comes to a certain day in a week or half a month, he will always ask for leave suddenly. Generally speaking, he will not ask for leave when the laboratory is very busy, but will leave directly when he is a little relaxed. Sometimes in the absence of him, everyone can only temporarily transfer people to replace his position. After hearing what he said, Li Yan nodded as if he understood, but still asked Lin Feng in confusion, then why don't you just replace him in your laboratory? You know, the project we are carrying out this time is very important and we will hold a press conference soon. If he fails at this time, will it affect our rhythm? This is related to his own face. It was the time to prove his strength to others, so he didn't want others to bring him failure in this project. Lin Feng could understand his worries. Lin Feng frowned and said, we mentioned this idea at the beginning, but we also learned that this guy already has a sister. Because he had a serious illness since he was a child, he has been transferred to other hospitals all the time, and every time he ran out of money, it was just when our project started, so he was basically involved in every project. It's not that I feel sorry for him. After all, his skills are pretty good. Except for his occasional failure, nothing has happened. So I guess this time it will at most be back in a day, so you don't have to worry too much. Chapter 1235 The Best of Both Worlds. Li Yuan couldn't imagine it. If he really disappeared for a day or two as the boy said, would coming back affect the next process? But he absolutely couldn't allow such a thing to happen. So he shook his head and said, if you don't go to find him during the period of discomfort, then I have to find him. Anyway, I have a lot of people in this city. It's not easy to find someone. I will just give him a sum of money so that his sister can be treated regularly in a hospital. Isn't that enough? It may take him so long to run. It has to be said that a boss like Li Yuan is really simple and rough when doing things. However, Lin Feng has tried this method before. He said that he could sign a long-term contract with the other party. He just hoped that the other party would not always fail like before, but the other party refused, and he had to use his own strength to prove that he could get that salary. So forget it later, just hope that his good friend, Li Yuan, can succeed this time. Lin Feng nodded and encouraged the other party and said, then I wish you success. I have tried all this before, but the other party rejected me. But I hope you can really convince the other party. If you can bring him back, then our plan may not be affected at all. The only bug now is the disappeared Xiao Chen, so Lin Feng and Li Tian are both looking forward to finding each other. Lin Feng is just very used to it. The other party always disappears from time to time. After all, this is someone else's private matter. If Lin Feng has too much relationship with it, it will not be good. But the other party didn't want him to know, so he didn't ask more. But this time Li Yuan was different. He just wanted to get to the bottom of it, so he was ready to wish him good luck. Lin Feng didn't expect that in the result that Li Yuan found out later, there was actually a shocking conspiracy. And this conspiracy has been with him for several years, but it has never caused his company to go bankrupt, nor has it lost any face. That can only mean that he is really lucky, and thanks to the system to assist him. Lin Feng hung up the phone. After returning, he saw Zhang Yuxi sitting on a chair at a roadside stall, still happily eating barbecue. He walked over and rubbed her head, and said to her, sorry, I kept you waiting just now, because I was just talking about things in the company. This month's press conference is about to be held in 6 days. Li Yuan is doing such a big order for the first time. He wants to prove his ability to his father, so he is a little impatient. I can only understand him. Zhang Yuxi shook her head, then looked at Lin Feng and said to him, it doesn't matter. I believe that you two can definitely do this project well. And we all know your ability. There is nothing to explain. Don't you know that I can always trust you very much? Lin Feng nodded, very satisfied. He can have a girlfriend like Zhang Yuxi. What else is there to be dissatisfied in his heart? The two of them ate barbecue together very sweetly. The couple who were about to leave next to them saw how sweet Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi were. The girl grabbed her boyfriend fiercely, and then said to him, sit down for me, I want to be like others, you feed me, others haven't left. Why are you in a hurry to leave? You just play with your phone. If you don't stay with me, then let's break up. Faced with his girlfriend's unreasonable troubles, the boy was also very helpless, but what else could he do now? He could only listen to his girlfriend, and then ordered another barbecue, sat down like Lin Feng, and then fed his girlfriend. But he was bitter in his heart, because he felt that this was not happy at all, imitating the way other couples get along. This is not a fun thing, and there is no need for it. But his girlfriend would not listen to him no matter what, but asked him to do it. Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi left after eating the barbecue. The remaining couple was still in a state of confusion. You don't want me to, and I don't want to, which is helpless. After arriving home, Zhang Yuxi ran over to watch the drama alone. Because she knew that Lin Feng should not have finished the previous call and was very busy. So he didn't bother Lin Feng. After Lin Feng arrived at the study, he called his good friend, Zhang Yanmin, his best friend in high school. How have you been recently? Although the two were just ordinary good friends in high school, they kept in touch after entering college. In addition, the school this guy got into was not bad, so Lin Feng occasionally went out to play with him. Lin Feng felt that this matter might really need his good friend's help. So he told him everything that happened before. You are either a traitor or a thief if you are being too attentive to me. Tell me, what do you want me to do for you? Because his good friend had been a gangster for a while in high school, when Lin Feng came to him again, Zhang Anmin naturally thought that Lin Feng must be looking for his help. Sure enough, Lin Feng understood what he said. As soon as he said that, he immediately nodded and said, "Yes, I just need your help with something, but if you don't want to help, I won't force you." The other party made a sound, and then it sounded like he lost a game, and then he cursed twice, and then he concentrated on answering Lin Feng's call. "Sorry, I just played 2 games, now you can tell me quickly, what is your matter? I'm busy playing 2 more games with my teammates." After hearing this, Lin Feng nodded, and then told him what happened before. "I have a person missing here, and he is a very important employee to our company, so I want you to help me find him with your good brothers nearby. If you find him, I can treat them to a good meal." "Hey, why do you still say these polite words between brothers? Don't worry, since it is the person you want to find, then I, Zhang Anmin, will definitely send someone to find him for you, just wait for the news obediently." Hearing him say so reliably, after finishing this, Lin Feng nodded. It's not that he doesn't have other candidates, but he thinks the best person is still his good friend from high school. After all, this guy is not in Lin Feng's city, so even if something is found out on the end and someone wants to retaliate against him, he is not in this city, so he will escape the disaster and be able to find his people. Isn't this the best of both worlds? Chapter 1236 Headless Fly. After hanging up the phone, Lin Feng called Li Tian again. "How is it? Has Zhao Chen contacted you?" The other party shook his head, and said with an obviously angry look, "How could he contact me? You know, if I contact him, I will definitely call you as soon as possible. This guy must have gone somewhere and disappeared. No, I have to send someone to find him immediately." Lin Feng stopped him and asked him to wait. "Don't worry, I just called another friend of mine. He probably has called someone to find him now. He has good brothers in the city who are no worse than you. I believe you should help me find the person within a day." Li Tian didn't expect that his good friend would actually have such a person, so he said with some surprise, "That's great. If we can find the person, of course, it can save us a lot of trouble, but are you sure that your friend can find the person? Why don't I send someone to look for him too?" After thinking about it, Lin Feng nodded. Because he felt that whether it was Li Tian or Zhang Anmin, they all knew people, and compared to Lin Feng, they had more people and were more reliable. So Lin Feng simply told Li Tian and Zhang Anmin to do the task of finding someone together. Originally, Lin Feng thought that Li Tian had been busy running around the research institute these days, and he didn't want to trouble him. But he insisted on introducing this task, so there was nothing he could do. On the other hand, after getting the data of Lin Feng's company's longevity drugs, Zhang Yuxi was very happy. He directly handed the data to his doctor, Dr. Nathan. After calling the other party over, he gave the USB flash drive that Zhao Chen had sent to him before, and said, "The data in it is all the data in the company of another competitor of ours. Take it back and study it, and then make it into our product. I will hold a press conference on the same day, and this guy Lin Feng knows that all this will be mine." Zhang Yuxi is indeed a very ambitious person, but he is too easy to trust others. So much so that he was on guard against so many other people, but he didn't guard against other people around him who would betray him. Dr. Nathan didn't say much at this time. He just nodded to Zhang Yuxi, and then promised, "Mr. Zhang, if you can get this data, then I can also promise you that within 3 days, I will definitely reproduce and distribute the data in it. At that time, there will naturally be no suspicion of plagiarism with the data of their original company, so at that time we can completely make a product that looks the same as theirs. But in fact, it is a different type of longevity product medicine." After hearing what he said, Zhang Yuxi laughed a few times. "Ha, not bad, not bad. Your words this time make me very satisfied. Then I will wait for you to come back here, but I have to say it in advance. If you can't make a copy of the data that looks exactly the same within 3 days, then I will be angry." This is something that cannot be discussed. He naturally knows how important this matter is to Zhang Yuxi. Dr. Nathan nodded heavily. "Don't worry, Mr. Zhang, I will definitely prepare the data for you as soon as possible." Nodding, Zhang Yuxi temporarily let Dr. Nathan leave, because he wanted to enjoy this successful night. After Dr. Nathan left, Zhang Yuxi called Zhao Chen's people. "How is it? Is Zhao Chen in the hospital now?" The other party responded, and then said, "Yes, we have confirmed that Xiao Chen has been admitted to the hospital, and his sister is next to him. We are now guarding the brother and sister. If they wake up, can we call you, Mr. Zhang?" Zhang Cation nodded and said, "Okay, this guy has gone out to the hospital, so I'm relieved for the time being. If he wakes up, tell me quickly, okay? Don't worry, Mr. Zhang, don't you know how reliable we brothers are? Okay, I believe you, but there can't be any mistakes. You must not let that guy escape. He is a very important witness now. If he escapes, it will definitely affect the property rights issue this time. So whether Zhang Cation is discussing teaching Xiao Chen a lesson or trying to prevent Lin Feng from getting so many patents at one time, he will definitely keep Xiao Chen in his hospital, and this time he will satisfy his wish. In this way, Xiao Chen can reunite with his sister, but he will not be free. But he believes that Xiao Chen will not disagree, right? After all, the other party has seen his sister who he has been thinking about. Zhang Cation thought that his calculation was very good, but he did not know that in fact, in addition to him, there were already another group of people who wanted to find Xiao Chen. Although he has temporarily controlled Xiao Chen, he is more confident that he can ensure that his people can always guard Xiao Chen without being discovered, but this is all later. When Zhang Cation had reacted, he saw that his people did not guard, and Xiao Chen and his two siblings were taken away in the early hours of the night. Recently, many gangsters in the whole Jiangcheng have begun to move at night, and tonight they are all for one goal. That is because the two big brothers who have the most say in this Jiangcheng have ordered the gangsters to find someone. To be precise, it is a pair of siblings, but if you can find one, there will be a reward, so these customers are out looking for people at night. What do you think our boss Xiao Chen is thinking? He's going to look for a person who has no information and only a photo. How do we know where he is? As soon as he said this, he was hit on the head by a fist by the person in front of him. If you don't speak and no one answers you, you are dumb. Besides, this task is issued by the two giants in Jiangcheng. If we don't complete it, do you think we will have a place to stay? That's right, but we can't look around like headless flies. We don't even know where it is, and Jiangcheng is so big that we don't know which district it is. It will take us several days and nights to find it. After saying this, he was hit on the head by the person in front of him again, and the other person groaned. He covered his head and said in fear, "Brother, if you don't say anything, don't hit me. I haven't done anything wrong. Why do you keep hitting me?" The tattooed man called the big brother said with a sound of endurance. "What do you know? Even if we can't find the person, we have to look for him, just because of the order, but you, the two big guys of Jiangcheng, dare to say that you won't look for him. Are you tired of living? It doesn't matter if you are tired of living, but don't let your brothers suffer the same fate as you. Look at these brothers, who of them doesn't know the rules here?" After hearing what he said, the people nodded, and it seemed so. You know, generally speaking, the whole Jiangcheng will not have so many gangsters in one night, and someone can order them to move them. Then it can only mean that this person is indeed very powerful, and there are so many of them, close to tens of thousands of people, and they should be able to find someone if they go to look for him. Chapter 1237 Take care of yourself. In another hospital, Xiao Chen, who has woken up, was very confused about what was happening. Because he never thought that he would be knocked unconscious and brought here. Outside the hospital door, there were two gangsters, who seemed to be the ones who knocked him unconscious and brought him here before. He gritted his teeth. "These bastards knocked me unconscious and brought me here. I don't know how my sister is doing." He was very worried about his sister, but there was no sign of his sister in the ward where he was staying. So he was thinking about how to escape and see his sister. Once he could see his sister, it should not be long before he could take his sister away. At this time, the person outside pushed the door and walked in. Seeing that he had woken up from the bed again, he brought him a portion of food with a smile and said to him, "Eat." After all, Mr. Zhang has to take time out of his busy schedule to ask us to take care of you too, so we have been here to guard you too. Otherwise, we would have no idea where to go to have fun, so you better behave yourself next time. If you make things difficult for us, don't blame us for being rude." After saying this, their vicious looks reminded Xiao Chen of the previous scene again, so he thought about it and decided not to provoke these two people at this time. He nodded. "Okay, give me the food, I'll eat it myself." His hands and feet were not flexible now, so he had to let the other party pass the food to him. But when these two people were so bored, of course they wanted to tease Xiao Chen to make him feel relieved, and one of them took the food from the plate. But they didn't give it to him, but threw it in the air and said to him provocatively, "If you have the ability, then come and take it. If you don't have the ability, don't blame us for not giving it to you, ha ha ha." After seeing this scene, Xiao Chen thought in his heart that if he went back to last night, he would rather fight with these people and never be taken away so easily. Now he has to ask others for a piece of food, which is really insulting to himself. Don't go too far. Although Mr. Zhang tied me to this place, he has ordered you to provide me with good food and drink. If I expose this matter after I go out, Mr. Zhang will definitely put all the accounts of this matter on your heads, so you just take it easy, understand? At this time, Xiao Chen was still so tough, he had no choice, he had just tried to talk to these people properly. But these people just refused to give him food and insulted him here, so he was helpless. But he didn't expect that with his current strength. Even if he threatened these people, these thugs would only beat him up, and there would be no other benefits. So after he threatened these thugs, they came up directly, and one of them beat Xiao Chen violently, and said while beating him, "I really gave you face, didn't I? Who do you think you are? If it weren't for Mr. Zhang asking us to watch you here, we would have left long ago, and we would not care about your life or death in this place. Now we give you food, if you beg us once or twice, we might just throw it into your hands, but you actually want to threaten us. Don't you look at yourself, do you think you have the right to say such things?" One person flattened Xiao Chen's face, and another person came up and punched Xiao Chen's nose in the same way. After being beaten by these people, Xiao Chen silently wondered in his heart whether this was his retribution. Because he sold Lin Feng's company information to this group of worse than pigs and dogs, he would receive such retribution. If he hadn't done that, at least he would still be a very respectable researcher now. These thugs showed no mercy, and beat Xiao Chen's face one after another until it was swollen. At this time, the nurse outside heard the sound of fighting inside, rushed in, and scolded these thugs. "Are you family members? How can you beat the patient casually? He just finished the operation now. He was beaten last night. You started beating him again today. If he beats again, I will report him to the police." The thugs just sneered at what the nurse said. Then they let go and stopped beating Xiao Chen. However, one of the thugs came up, pushed the nurse, and said very threateningly, "If you dare to tell this, then you can't stay in this hospital. Although we can't solve you in the hospital, unless you live in the hospital for the rest of your life, otherwise we have plenty of ways to say that you heard it." The nurse's eyes were wide open. He didn't expect to be threatened like this. These guys really have no sense of law. He was so angry that he trembled all over. But looking at Xiao Chen, who was dizzy and dazed after being beaten, he could only take medical supplies to bandage the other party's wounds. These gangsters also knew that they didn't go and didn't care about it. Only 2 people were left to open the door, and the others went out to eat or smoke. "I really don't understand why you fell into the hands of this group of people. If you tell me, I can go out and report it to you now. When the time comes, I'll wait for the people there to catch them all, so that you won't be abused by these people anymore." The nurse is still a person with a sense of justice. After he said this, Xiao Chen shook his head helplessly. "That's not necessary. I know I deserve it, that's why I am treated like this. If I hadn't chosen this path, then today wouldn't have happened. And I beg you, can you please not tell anyone about what happened today?" The nurse looked at him with her eyes wide open. Unexpectedly, this person would have to endure the bullying of those gangsters. Maybe it's because this person owed those people money. After thinking about this reason, the nurse's eyes also revealed a hint of helplessness, and then she persuaded Xiao Chen. "I can't say anything more to you, but all this is your own choice. You can take care of yourself. If you need me to report a case, then you can call me." Chapter 1238, Manhunt Plan in Progress. After the bandage was done, the nurse was talking, and was seen by the gangsters outside. One of the gangsters came in to remind him, "I'm a nurse. You've bandaged this guy's wound, so leave quickly. We need to rest and recover. No one else can talk too much to our patients. As a nurse, you should know this." The nurse looked at the gangsters, who were actually provoking her like this, and glared at them angrily. "I don't care who you are, but you'd better be careful that what you are doing now will be punished by others." Another gangster laughed twice and said to the nurse, "Did you know on the first day that doing such a thing would not be rewarded? Do you know who this person is? Just stand up for him." What if he is a criminal? Do you think it's worth it to stand up for him? When the gangsters heard what they said, they looked inside again. Seeing Xiao Chen lowered his head, he was a little uncertain in his heart. If the other party really did something illegal, then following him in would only cause trouble for himself. He pushed the two thugs away with a cold face, and then walked away. After everyone had left, a thug walked in and said to Xiao Chen, "I tell you, don't think about asking others to report the case and take you away. In addition to the few of us guarding here, there are other brothers guarding outside the hospital entrance. They just can't come in conveniently. If you dare to escape, I will break your legs. Don't think you dare not. Mr. Zhang said that he will pay special attention to you, and if you dare to escape, then you will never see your sister again in your life." He threatened him with his sister again. He had heard this sentence no less than 10 times. Xiao Chen certainly knew what Mr. Zhang said to him, so these bad words were just repeated. He nodded and said with a very desperate look, "I know what I should do. You don't need to remind me again. I will stay in the hospital and won't cause you any trouble." The night search plan is still going on. These thugs from the largest group in Jiangcheng are searching for a person in one area after another. They must find this person within 3 days. So the speed of searching for these 10,000 people was very fast, not for anything else, but because some of them committed crimes on weekdays and often played hide-and-seek games with some law enforcement and security personnel. So the speed of escape was very fast, so the speed of search was exactly the same as usual, and it was only a matter of time for them to find people quickly. It was just one night later that they turned over half of Jiangcheng, but still did not find anyone. They could not get into some high-end places. Some private residences were also impossible to appear, so they went to some public areas. Although this seemed to miss a lot of places, it was actually not the case, because only some public places needed to be searched. Then only some private places were left, and naturally there would be more advanced gangsters to search inside. So 3 days was enough for them to search inside and outside. At dawn, there was still nothing. These gangsters met in a very remote area of Jiangcheng. Looking at these brothers, they all looked very tired. The leader said to them, "You go back and rest first. We will continue the search at night, but we don't have much time. There are only 2 days left. We must complete this task anyway, otherwise it will be difficult to explain to the people above." Although these gangsters were very unhappy, no one dared to complain, and they dispersed immediately and went back to sleep first. Lin Feng received a call from his good friend in high school. "Lin Feng, I just asked my little brother to tell me. He said that this person is still in the process of searching. But he promised that he would send the person to you within the next 2 days. Don't worry, no matter how big Jiangcheng is, the person will be found, unless he is no longer in Jiangcheng." After hearing this, Lin Feng nodded. "Then trouble you." Lin Feng was still very worried, because the person just said that if he is not in Jiangcheng now, he can't find the person. But if it is really as the other party said, the person is no longer in Jiangcheng, then wouldn't it be really impossible to find him? It was impossible for him to send everyone to look for such a researcher, so he had already started to have other plans in his mind. If he still couldn't find the person after 3 days, then forget it. Otherwise, it would not be good to go on like this, but he didn't say this. Because no matter what, Xiao Chen was also his employee, and he had to try his best to find him. If he really couldn't find him, then thank you for your help. Zhang Anmin said to him a little unhappy, "What are you talking about? We are good friends. This kind of separation will alienate us. Don't tell me that you have just graduated from high school for 1 semester. It's not necessary." Seeing that he was still the same as before, he didn't say any more words of thanks. "Okay, then I'll leave it to you. Anyway, if you have anything, just call me." After hanging up his phone, Zhang Yuxi next to him also got up at this time, so she heard the voice of Lin Feng on the phone. I couldn't help but stretch out a hand, hugged Lin Feng very familiarly, and then even said in a coquettish way, "What's wrong? You're on the phone so early in the morning. Did something happen in the company?" Looking at Zhang Yuxi's appearance when she just woke up, she was so cute. Lin Feng shook his head and told her a few jokes. "How is it possible? There is no big problem with the things in my company. I just need to find someone. You should sleep for a while and I will prepare breakfast." Zhang Yuxi looked at Lin Feng with emotion and said, "Husband, you are so good. Every time I ask you to prepare breakfast for me, I have never made a good meal for you. Otherwise, I will cook for you this morning, okay?" Lin Feng shook his head to comfort him and said, "It's no big deal. You can sleep here for a while. Don't worry, the breakfast I make for you is different every day. I want to make you fat and white. In this way, there will be fewer people chasing you in the future." Chapter 1239 Safety is the most important. Lin Feng was just joking. But after hearing this, Zhang Yuxi pouted and said coquettishly, I don't want to. I don't want to be white and fat. I'm not beautiful at all. I want to be like you. We have to look compatible. We can't get fat." Lin Feng couldn't stand his coquetry, so he touched his head and said very gently, Okay, I will prepare some breakfast with more crude fiber for you later. Don't worry, you won't get fat after eating it. This made Zhang Yuxi feel a little relieved. She rolled on the pillow and looked like a furry little rabbit. Lin Feng shook his head and walked out. After a while, breakfast was ready. Zhang Yuxi came out with a mess of hair, hugged Lin Feng and kissed him, and then went to wash up. Lin Feng spread his hands helplessly, thinking in his heart, if those boys who pursue Zhang Yuxi saw that she was like this at home on weekdays, I wonder what they would think? This is not a goddess, she suddenly became a girl. But this look is the most perfect in Lin Feng's heart. Because he doesn't want Zhang Yuxi to always have a burden in front of him, it's good to be his true self, so Lin Feng also likes such a real Zhang Yuxi. No matter how sloppy he is, he can never change that this is the woman he loves most. When Zhang Yuxi was brushing his teeth, Lin Feng had already taken out the buns and put them in the bowl, and then poured him another bowl of soy milk. When Zhang Yuxi finished washing up, she came out and saw the steamed breakfast on the table. Husband, your cooking skills are really great. It would be great if I could be half as good as you. Otherwise, the next time I go to my grandpa's house, they will think that I can't do anything and just make trouble for you. Seeing what Lin Feng took him to his grandpa's house last time, he still remembers it. So much so that he is still talking about it. Hearing that he was still worried about the misunderstanding before, Lin Feng comforted him. Don't worry, I won't let you embarrass yourself this time. Besides, my grandpa and uncle all thought you were interesting last time. You looked lively, cute and funny. You just worry too much? No one in my family dislikes you at all. Why do you always think so much? Zhang Yuxi just thought about it, then shook her cute little head and sighed. Maybe she really loves Raymond Lam too much? That's why she always feels that she hasn't done well anywhere, and she is worried that Raymond Lam will dislike her because of her shortcomings. But in fact, he thinks too much? Not only that, but it is precisely because Zhang Yuxi has many small shortcomings. That's why Raymond Lam thinks he is a perfect person. Because if a person is as perfect as a god when married, then this person will not make people feel friendly. Lin Feng hugged him and coaxed him, saying, Don't worry, you are my wife. No one can say anything bad about you, not even my family. And my family likes you very much? Are you still worried about this? After hearing what she said, Zhang Yuxi nodded. My husband is so nice, Trojan. After kissing Lin Feng, he once again proposed the idea to Lin Feng. I know that you love me the most, but I still want to learn cooking with you very much. I want to cook for Grandpa and Grandma next time. They will definitely like it very much. And if the uncles know that I am so versatile, they will definitely think that I am a good wife for you in the future. Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. No matter what he said, Zhang Yuxi really wanted to continue cooking, and he couldn't persuade her. In addition to letting the other party do it, what else could he do? Well, since you have said so, then I can only agree, but you have to promise me one thing. Before Lin Feng finished speaking, Zhang Yuxi immediately understood what he was going to say. Don't you just want me to not blow up the kitchen? It's okay, I promise you. What else do you have to worry about? Lin Feng shook his head. No, that's not what I meant, but I want to tell you that you can't hurt yourself no matter what. Anyway, I don't care whether you like cooking or not, and I don't care whether you can make a good dish, but you can't let yourself get hurt, do you understand? In the kitchen, your safety is the most important. To be honest, Lin Feng was not afraid of seeing Zhang Yuxi blow up his kitchen like a battlefield, but the other party must stand in front of him safely. Zhang Yuxi was very moved and hugged Lin Feng. Lin Feng said to him, You stay at home first, I have to go out to the company to deal with some things. Don't confirm one or two things about the press conference today, otherwise, I don't know when I can go back to the company to do it. After Lin Feng said this, Zhang Yuxi nodded, Okay, I'll wait for you to come back. Looking at Zhang Yuxi like a little rabbit. Lin Feng, who was so well behaved in front of him, couldn't help but kiss her forehead. After leaving, Lin Feng went downstairs and drove a Porsche to the company. After arriving, the secretary in the company handed Lin Feng a document. Mr. Lin, this is an interview location we have preliminarily determined. Do you think it is suitable? Lin Feng just took a look and closed it, then handed it to him and said, now it's not about determining where the interview will be held, but about whether all the information sheets of our products are out. This is the most important thing. If this is not determined, then everything will be in vain. The assistant nodded immediately after hearing Lin Feng's words and said, yes, Mr. Lin, we will definitely carry out this task. It was my negligence just now. I actually forgot such an important thing. I'm sorry, I will definitely carry it out immediately. Lin Feng nodded. This time, he came only to see how the preparations in the company were going. But now it seems that it is indeed possible. So he asked his people to withdraw first, but they still did not receive any calls about Xiao Chen, so they could temporarily call the people at the research institute. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1240 Hiding One's Identity Vest. After the call was connected, the voice that came was the voice of an old doctor in the institute. It's me, Lin Feng. After hearing Lin Feng's voice, the old doctor hurriedly said, oh, it's Boss Lin Feng. I wonder if you called to talk to us about something. Our project research is going very smoothly. Lin Feng nodded after hearing it. Since the other party said that the research is going very smoothly, it means that this project does not need Xiao Chen for the time being, and they can complete it together. So Lin Feng was relieved. He was more relieved about Xiao Chen's matter. Even if he couldn't find someone, the project could go on. It would not delay the development of his own project. I came here just to tell you that no matter whether Xiao Chen is here or not, you must develop the first batch of drug products within 6 days. I must watch the press conference in 6 days, so this matter is very important. No one will be able to find Xiao Chen's news. Don't worry, I will never let such a good employee like Xiao Chen disappear in vain. After hearing his words, the old doctor was very moved, because he didn't expect Lin Feng to be willing to give them a chance. They were moved to tears because they had a chance to find Xiao Chen. Several other researchers couldn't help but say to Lin Feng on the phone, Mr. Lin, you don't know me. I really hope Xiao Chen will come back. When Xiao Chen was here, the atmosphere in our laboratory was much better than it is now. Now that he is not here, we don't know who to ask for help. To be honest, the researchers in these laboratories rely on Xiao Chen very much, because Xiao Chen is not only a colleague to them. He is also a very good partner. In the past, as long as Xiao Chen was here, they would help each other. What is different now is that they can't find help because of Xiao Chen's departure. It was also the first time that Lin Feng heard his group of employees talking about another researcher on their line. This was a big shock to him. Although he was relatively young, he also had a basic understanding of society. Generally speaking, colleagues were very polite to each other because they worked in the same environment, so everyone smiled and would not offend anyone. But people like Xiao Chen, even if he was always absent and disappeared for a while inexplicably. But when he came back, everyone forgave him as a colleague and was very inseparable from him. It can be said that it was Xiao Chen's own personality charm and his ability that made everyone recognize. If it weren't for him, I believe so many people would not be so eager for Xiao Chen to come back. So Lin Feng was Xiao Chen's boss. Whether it was because of his responsibilities in the labor contract or because of human relationships, he had to get Xiao Chen back. He held the phone tightly, and the anger in his heart also arose slowly. He knew people like Xiao Chen. Generally speaking, he would call me if he was missing for half a day, saying that there was something wrong. Or he would call someone in his company directly. But this time, he didn't get in touch for a whole night and day. That can only mean that he really had an accident. This was Lin Feng's intuition as a boss, so he promised the researchers on the phone. Don't worry, since I am your boss, I will naturally ensure your personal safety. You can continue your research projects in the laboratory with peace of mind, and I will send someone to look for him as soon as possible, but it is not possible to report the case before 24 hours. So we can only deal with it privately, and when we don't know what happened to him, I don't recommend that I report the case to avoid alerting the enemy. What do you think? Hearing that Lin Feng was willing to take the initiative to find Xiao Chen, it was a very good thing for them, and they all nodded and said, "That's great, boss. We are all very happy to hear your words. Boss, please go and find him as soon as possible. If you can find him, that would be the best. If not, we will report him to the police." Lin Feng nodded and hung up the phone. Before, these people must study a new project carefully. Because Lin Feng was afraid that these staff members would forget what their work content was because they were worried about Xiao Chen's fate. But his worry was useless. In the end, these researchers still remembered what their tasks were. So after hanging up the phone, they all devoted themselves to the production of a new batch of drugs. The most annoying doctor came over and said to everyone, "Since the boss is so good to our employees, we should give him a surprise. Anyway, this batch of drugs will be produced after the first batch of drugs is produced, so let's process this batch of drugs directly in advance. If the boss can find Xiao Chen, then we have not given the boss a surprise. If not, then we will find a way ourselves." Everyone nodded and threw themselves into the work. After Lin Feng hung up the phone, he called his childhood friend Li Dian again and pressed him, "How are you doing? I asked my high school friend this morning, and he said he hasn't found anyone yet, but he will continue to help me find them. What about you?" The person on the other end took a breath, then shook his head and said, "I can't do anything about it. Who told me that I can't find anyone? But I will try my best to find him, but you have to give me some time. How do I know where your employee has gone? It shouldn't be the case. I have a lot of people in Jiangcheng. If they want to find someone under my command, they can find him in one night. Unless the other party is hiding very well, they are hiding very carefully, so think about whether the employee knows anyone, or he's a big shot himself." Lin Feng shook his head and said very confidently, "It's impossible that I have already investigated all their information before they entered my company, so they are definitely not big shots who hide their identities. So there is only one reason, that is, he was really kidnapped." Chapter 1241 No Way to Survive. After saying this, not only Lin Feng thought so, but even his good friend Li Dian also nodded and agreed with his point of view. "I think it seems to make some sense. After all, if your employee is not hiding himself, then he must be hidden by someone else. Since you said he is not hiding himself, there is only one reason: he was kidnapped or threatened by someone. That shouldn't be the case. You said he is now an employee of your company. What's the benefit of others helping him? He is not an important person." After hearing this, Lin Feng also pondered for a while. Because he also thought so. Even if it was kidnapping, wouldn't it be better to kidnap himself? Although the other party could not solve him, Xiao Chen was a very ordinary research staff in the institute. He didn't have much knowledge. The materials he really mastered were all in the hands of the old doctor. Unless he was qualified to find the information in the old doctor's hands. Otherwise, it would be impossible to get the important information. There was only one reason, that is, he really entered the old doctor's office, or there were other reasons. However, Lin Feng could not ask the old doctor directly, but planned to investigate further and find the person first, because he felt that the information was kept by someone in batches. Even if Xiao Chen really got the information, who would he give it to? Could it be to his competitor? If there was this reason, then it would be more clear where to find the other party. After it was determined at that time, he called Li Dian on the phone and said, "Well, one of my competitors has always wanted to confront my company. I think this matter may also be related to him." It was the first time that Lin Feng considered his competitors, so when he said this, Li Dian on the other side of the phone also felt a reaction. He nodded and said very seriously, "Yes, how could I forget that you have a competitor? The domestic competitors alone can line up in a long line. In addition to those foreign spies, I am afraid that they may have already penetrated into our research and experimental department. Maybe Xiao Chen's accident this time is also because of their people. I will go to investigate your competitor now." Lin Feng nodded. He really couldn't find any other direction now. He could only go according to his own feelings and intuition. As long as he could feel that Xiao Chen might be related to someone, then he could only lock the direction of that person. Although this is a bit casual, it is much better than finding nothing. Lin Feng said to Li Dian, "We have less than 6 days left, so you have to hurry up and seize the remaining time and investigate Zhang Caishen's company. If you don't investigate, I don't know if you will really hide our employees." He didn't need to say more about this matter. After all, Li Tian's attention and importance on this project were higher than Lin Feng. Without saying anything, he quickly ordered his subordinates to do this matter. In addition, he had his people in Jiangchen, so once they recovered, these people seemed to have finally found the direction, and they were all very excited. Little guys, this time, the boss said that we should focus on investigating a company. It is very likely that the person he is looking for is hiding in that company. After hearing this, these gangsters said in disbelief, "What? They actually asked us to investigate that company? Isn't this the company we cooperated with before?" After all, many gangsters in Zhang Yuxi's company had contact with him, so everyone felt strange. But this time they had to investigate Zhang Yuxi's company carefully, not for anything else, but because this was an order from Li Xiangxia above. If they didn't do it, the result would be very serious. These gangsters wanted to stay in the whole Jiangchen. Although some of these gangsters had followed Zhang Yuxi for a period of time, did things for him, and took money. In Jiangchen, his fools were naturally more righteous and could give them a place to stay, so except for a few gangsters who were unwilling, the other gangsters followed their leaders one by one to investigate Zhang Yuxi's company. It was still evening time. Zhang Yuxi called the hospital again. "How is it? Is Xiao Chen's injury better now?" The gangsters were fighting for Xiao Chen's food. After receiving the call, they behaved themselves and threw the food into Xiao Chen's arms, and answered the phone by the way. "Don't worry, boss, you are still worried about us doing things. This guy is fat and white in the hospital. I think he will be able to grow bigger in half a month." Although what he said was a little exaggerated, it did make Zhang Yuxi feel better. He nodded and said to his men again, "You have to look at it carefully for me. If he wants to run after he recovers, just break one of his legs. Do you understand?" After saying this, the gangster nodded and bowed, as if Zhang Yuxi was right in front of him. "Boss, don't worry, that kid will never dare to run away. If he dares to run away, I will break his legs as you said. Anyway, I think this guy is not qualified to work for the boss." Xiao Chen, who was eating, was very angry after hearing what the gangster said on the phone. He didn't expect Zhang Yuxi to be so ruthless to him. After all, they were people who had experienced so many things together, but the other party was unwilling to give him a way out. In this case, he had nothing to worry about. After going out this time, he didn't care whether he would not be accepted by Lin Feng's company in the future. He must tell Lin Feng the truth of this matter. He couldn't continue to let Lin Feng down. At this time, his conscience finally came to his senses, and he also silently kept in mind the pressure he would face in the future. After finishing the call, the gangster kicked Xiao Chen's bed again. Then he said to him, "The boss told us that you should not run around during this period. Your sister will let you come to see her tomorrow, and then she will be locked up next door. Do you understand?" Chapter 1242, Flying Away. Because there were thugs guarding next door, so if the brother and sister meet, it depends on the mood of these thugs, so Xiao Chen can't care so much now. So he nodded and bowed to the thug in front of him and said, "Brother, I know you are the boss Zhang Yuxi, and I will never run away from someone I trust very much. I promise you, okay? I just want to see my sister. For my sister, you can ask me to do anything." The other party looked at him so pitiful, but smiled a little obscenely. "Are you serious? For your sister, you can do anything? Ha ha ha. Xiao Chen, if you had such awareness earlier, why did you suffer until now?" Xiao Chen was a little scared when he said this. He wanted to use this kind of thing to delay the other party, let the other party find something for him to do, and then let him go to see his sister after he was coaxed by him. But what was unexpected was that this guy seemed to be really serious. "Brothers, come in quickly. This guy said that he is willing to do anything for us as long as he can see his sister. What kind of request do you think we should make for him to do it?" Some other gangsters all came in. You know, they were disgusted by Xiao Chen before. Because Xiao Chen didn't take them seriously, now that they had the opportunity, everyone wanted to teach him a lesson. At this time, Xiao Chen actually took the initiative to provide them with such a big benefit, so he had nothing to be brave on his own. After hearing this, a gangster came up and said to Xiao Chen, "I think it's enough for you to lick my shoes clean for me. How about doing this kind of work for you? Are you happy?" Faced with the bullying of this group of gangsters, does Xiao Chen have any other choice except growing up? Of course not, unless he doesn't want to see his sister. Because these people care about his sister, even if his sister is lying well in another ward. But he still feels that before seeing his sister in person, he can't be sure whether the other party is good or bad. So he clenched his fists and suppressed all the anger. He knew that only by kneeling down and licking the shoes of several people could he make these people believe that he was real and treat them as big brothers. So he forced a smile, then knelt down and said to the man who held out a shoe, "Big brother, I will lick your shoes clean now, I will lick them now." Everyone was unwilling to believe that Xiao Chen was really willing to do this at first, but after seeing him do this, everyone laughed. "Did you see that Gao Ke was on top? Who even dared to confront our boss? Xiao Chen has now knelt down to lick our shoes. If any of you think your shoes are not clean, then come and let him lick them." They were too insulting. Xiao Chen also remembered all the faces that insulted him one by one in his heart. He didn't have the opportunity to retaliate now, so he decided to wait until he had the opportunity to get rich in the future, and then go to settle accounts with these people. Anyway, no one would let them go. After hearing what he said, the gangsters also walked in. Then he stretched out his foot and said to Xiao Chen, "Why are you still hesitating? Stop it. Didn't you say that just now? Help us do anything. We can do whatever we ask you to do. It's just a very simple shoe licking now. You just need to lick these shoes clean, and then we will take you to see your sister now." After saying this, Xiao Chen had no other choice, so he squatted down again and licked the shoes of 3 people. After licking, someone finally couldn't bear it anymore and said, "Forget it, forget it, forget it, forget it, don't make things difficult for him. Anyway, he is still in the hospital. If you continue to let him eat these dirty ashes, if someone dies later, why will he be scolded by the boss?" After all, some people are afraid of this, so after he said this, some people began to nod. "Okay, since someone gave you a new job, you don't have to eat the dust on our shoes anymore. We will take you to see your sister now, but you have to pay attention. There is a time limit for us to take you to see your sister. We will give you half an hour at most. Get out of here after you finish. Do you understand?" Even though Xiao Chen was so humble just now, they still didn't look at Xiao Chen well. It was because of the grudges accumulated in the morning that they couldn't really trust Xiao Chen from now on, but Xiao Chen was very happy to see her sister. He nodded quickly and said, "Don't worry, brothers, I will. So I will follow the rules you said. Can you take my sister home?" Because she was lying on the bed, it was really difficult for her to get out of bed, so she needed someone to help her. Then a man came over and said to him, "Come here, I'll help you over." Xiao Chen took a look and found that the other person was actually the gangster who had pleaded for him just now. He said that he should not be bullied by those people, but all of them were guilty. This time, Xiao Chen would not forgive anyone among them. He believed that as long as he was soft-hearted, these people would definitely become cruel to him. There was no innocent person here. "Thank you, brother." But he still pretended to be very submissive on the surface, so even if these people didn't like him, they didn't bully him anymore. After the gangster helped him to another next room, he saw his sister lying on the bed, and she was already asleep. He cherished the time he spent with his sister very much. He knew that his sister seemed to have undergone another operation, so after he came over, he sat very gently beside his sister's bed. Then he couldn't help but talk to his sister. "Sister, you have suffered a lot during this period of time. It's not that I haven't come to see you for so long, but because I have important things to do, and now I have completed them. From now on, no one can separate the people around us." Xiao Chen held his sister's hand very cherishingly. Up to now, he felt that he should have collected enough money, as long as he waited until he got out. After that, he would go to Zhang Yuxi again and give him the money he had worked for him before, so that he could take his sister away. Chapter 1243, Finding a Meal. "What's up? Have you seen your sister? Come out quickly, half an hour is up now." After all, this matter was actually ordered by the superiors, so even if they took Xiao Chen to see his sister, they had to do it within a certain time, lest if this matter was exposed, he said you would be unlucky. Xiao Chen didn't dare to resist anyone at this time, so he dealt with the other party, and then said, "Brother, I'll be out soon, wait for me." After he finished speaking, he touched his sister's hand again, and then put her hand under the quilt. "Sister, brother is leaving first, brother will come to see you in 2 days." He walked out gently and locked the door. The gangster next to him, who had helped him walk over at the beginning, said to him again, "Your injury has not recovered yet, I will help you go in." Zhao Chen saw that the other party was much better educated than the other gangsters. He glanced at the other person's eyes. These eyes were relatively pure. It should be that he had just been with these old gangsters for a short time, so he didn't look completely polluted. However, since he had become a gangster, he was definitely not a good person. He had at least committed theft and kidnapping, so he would not get close to these people. But on the surface, he still pretended to be very grateful and said, "Thank you, brother, please accompany me back. I will definitely thank you again later." She didn't know how good the man in front of her was to her, but in Zhao Chen's eyes, they were all a group of hateful villains who kidnapped her sister. When she lay on the bed, she was still thinking about how to make all these people receive the punishment they deserved, and wait until some gangsters next to her left again to eat. The man who had been supporting him just now was still guarding him and was originally monitoring him, but at this time he suddenly spoke to him. "In fact, from the beginning, I knew that you didn't really want to be our younger brother, nor did you really recognize us as your elder brother." After he said this time, his head lying on the bed was instantly not good. He never thought that this guy had already seen through it. He had not really wanted to please these people before. Instead, he deliberately wanted them to let their guard down, but Zhao Chen would not admit it. He looked very panicked and said to the other party, "Brother, why do you say that? Is it because I didn't lick your shoes clean just now? If that's the case, then I can help you wash your shoes again." The other party shook his head and said to him with a sigh, "Brother, I also know that it is not easy for you. You and your sister are really brothers and sisters in distress, but you don't have to pretend in front of me. I don't want to oppress you like them. I just want to find a place to eat. They told me to follow them and they would take me to eat. I skipped school from my hometown and had no money on me. I didn't know what they did. They said they wouldn't do anything illegal, so I followed them. But I've seen what they did to you in the past 2 days. I couldn't stop it before, and I can't stop it now, but I can only say that I won't treat you like they do." Maybe it was because the words of the person in front of him were a bit sincere, so Zhao Chen fell into silence, and he didn't know whether he should believe what this person said. But he seemed to see a shadow on the other's face, that is, a very sincere and kind shadow, isn't that immersed in himself? Seeing that this guy is exactly the same as the one he was threatened by Zhang Yuxi, it is clear that he has gone astray because of his sister. If it weren't for his sister, then maybe he wouldn't do so many bad things now. But the young man in front of him is different from himself. He has no way back. He knows that what he has done has violated the rules. When he goes out, he will definitely be held responsible, but this person still has a chance, so he thought about saving the other person. "Okay, since you have seen my intention, I can only say that I really want to pretend to please you guys, and then find a way to escape. I will take my sister away this time, and I will never believe anything Zhang Yuxi says again." It's because Zhang Yuxi has lied to him again and again, so Zhao Chen no longer has any trust in children, even if Zhang Yuxi holds 1 million in front of him. He probably sneered and asked the other party what other ideas and intentions he had. But his frankness made the gangster in front of him a little scared and said, "But if you leave, then our brothers will suffer. I have finally followed them to make a living. If I let you go, will I be beaten by them and sent to the hospital?" It can be seen that he is really worried about himself. After hearing what he said, Zhang Yuxi had to explain and comfort him, "It's okay. If you are willing to follow me at that time, then I am willing to take you out. Anyway, you haven't done anything really harmful to the world, and you haven't killed anyone or set fire to anything. Then you will have plenty of opportunities to find a meal after you get out. Do you think you will feel no guilt in your heart if you do these harmful things like they did to me?" The other party shook his head. After all, he was still an honest child, so Zhao Chen's heart softened a little and decided to take the other party out. "Well, then, just do as I say. No one of us should think about this matter. Don't mention it to other gangsters, and promise that I will take you with me when I leave. By then, I might really be able to get you some money to solve your problems. Just find a job in the future if you are worried about it." Zhao Chen has basically predicted his future. Isn't there only a few possibilities? One possibility is that after he gets out, he can hide with his sister. Another possibility is that after he gets out, he is willing to confess everything and let Lin Feng protect his sister. Let him face the punishment he deserves, but he believes that he is willing to choose the second one this time, as long as it is for the good of his sister. And he will no longer feel that he has done something against the will of heaven and earth. He thinks that the punishment for himself is nothing. He has already done so many bad things. Chapter 1244. A little favor. When Xiao Chen was thinking about escaping, the night had quietly arrived. Some gangsters who were looking for Xiao Chen's voice appeared again in Jiangchen. There were many places where fights happened at night, but now there are basically no people, especially those places where the fights happened were where the bosses set up their businesses. Suddenly, they felt that their doors were much quieter. On this night, there were finally a few gangsters. They followed the search range and came to the hospital where Xiao Chen was. After entering, the gangster saw a person who was very familiar with him. He walked over and greeted him. "Isn't this Shunzi? Why are you here? Where have you been recently? How did you get to the hospital? Could it be that someone in your family is sick here?" The gangster who had just finished his meal and was about to go back to continue guarding Xiao Chen's ward. After hearing this voice, he quickly said, "Why are you here? I just received a job to see this person recently." After hearing what he said, the other party laughed and said, "I also received a task, which is to find someone for me to ask the nurse." The gangster who was guarding Xiao Chen felt something was wrong after hearing what he said, and then grabbed him and said to him, "Why don't you tell me who you are looking for? Anyway, Jerry is doing well in this area. If you find someone, maybe I can hear something. Otherwise, the whole gangster circle is so big, how could I not know?" He really didn't know, because he had been watching in this hospital for the past few days, and how could he have time to learn about other things in the circle while guarding Xiao Chen? After hearing what he said, the other gangsters nodded, and then one of them said to him, "It's like this, big brother. The person we are looking for is named Xiao Chen. The people above have assigned us this task. If we can find him, we will get a reward, so we can't wait to find him." When the man called Shunzi heard that he was actually looking for Xiao Chen, his smile slowly faded, and he glanced at the younger brother who had spoken. So he put his arm around the other's shoulder and said, "Have you heard about who is looking for him? This person seems to be quite famous in the circle recently." The younger brother said in a profound tone when he heard it, "Brother Shunzi, you mean you have heard of this person and know this person, right?" Unexpectedly, he really asked the right person, because they had looked for people in the circle recently, but had never heard of this person. How could they not be happy when they suddenly had hope? Shunzi nodded and said, "Yes, I have heard of this, and I have seen this person recently. Do you want to know where he is?" After saying this, the other party nodded and said, "Of course I do, brother. If you can help me find the real person, then you are my real brother." Shunzi sneered, and in his heart he couldn't help but secretly think that this guy is really stupid. If he really handed the person over, wouldn't he be unable to face Zhang Cation? You know, Zhang Cation is his boss. If he betrays his boss, the consequences of this behavior will be very bad. So no matter what, he can't let the person who came to find Xiao Chen go today. He patted the other's shoulder and said, "How could I lie to you about such a small matter? Besides, it's just a small favor. I'm helping you. Come on, let's go upstairs and talk first." But when the younger brother heard that Shunzi was going to take him upstairs, he couldn't help but said, "Why are we going upstairs? Does the Supreme have relatives up there?" Seeing his suspicious look, Shunzi said, "Yes, I have a pretty sister. Recently, she broke up with a scumbag, so she actually wanted to commit suicide. As a brother, I naturally brought him to the hospital. You look so handsome. If he sees you, he will definitely like you. What do you think?" Unexpectedly, the other party really took what he said seriously. The other party straightened his clothes and said, "Brother Shunzi, you really care about me. Okay, if your sister is so pretty, then I'll go up and take a look." Seeing that he was so easily deceived and taken upstairs, Shunzi nodded, and then followed him upstairs. But when he got into the elevator, he had already taken out his mobile phone to send text messages to his brothers. "Hurry up and come here, there's a guy here who wants to find Xiao Chen and tie him up." After sending the text message, the elevator has already started to slowly rise up. It will take some time to go from the first floor to the 10th floor. So if nothing unexpected happens during this period of time, then it will be enough time for them to run to the elevator door, block the person, and then tie him up. When it reached the 10th floor, the elevator door opened, and then several people came out, and immediately put the rope around the gangster. The gangster shouted in surprise, "What are you doing? Brother Shunzi, save me." But the other party not only did not save him, but also kicked him, and smiled very viciously and said, "You just stay in there for me." Seeing the other party's cold eyes, how could this fool not understand that these people were actually the people Shunzi found to tie him up? He asked in great confusion. Why, brother Shunzi, I know you, why do you want to hurt me like this? After saying this, he immediately reacted, I understand, it must be you. You must have tied up Xiao Chen I'm looking for, otherwise why did you trick me to come up just now? It was obviously when I said I was looking for Xiao Chen that you reacted incorrectly. Shunzi laughed after hearing what he said, his eyes were still very cold, and there was also a hint of murderous intent. Even if you know it now, what's the point of you shouting here? Take the person to the room quickly, I have something to interrogate later. When taking the person away, Shunzi tidied his clothes, then took out his mobile phone and called Zhang Cation. After Zhang Cation answered the call, he quickly said, Boss, we just recruited someone, what do you think this person's identity is? Chapter 1245, Unwilling to Give Up. Zhang Cation said impatiently, just say it, don't keep guessing. It sounded like Zhang Cation was not in a good mood, and the gangster didn't dare to play the mystery in the property management anymore. He quickly said, the boss is actually here to find Xiao Chen, and it is said that there is someone above him who specializes in organizing such things. I guess there must be someone behind Xiao Chen who wants to find it out. That's why we mobilized our Jiang Chen. So many gangsters are looking for this person together. Boss, you have to pay attention, don't let him really run away. Zhang Cation was not in high spirits at first, but after hearing this, he became bad. He quickly said, are you serious? Damn it, I didn't expect them to find the door so quickly. After he finished speaking, he hung up the phone without giving the gangster time to react, but he should start preparing now. The gangster was also relieved. Fortunately, he told his boss this information in time. Otherwise, if there was any accident, they would be the ones to take the blame. Now at least Zhang Cation already knew it, and he would find a way to deal with it. Zhang Cation was indeed scared. He didn't expect that the people would come so quickly. Zhang Cation immediately notified the gangsters in the hospital to transfer Xiao Chen as soon as possible, including his sister when the order was issued. At night, a gangster entered Xiao Chen's ward. Looking at Xiao Chen who was still studying, he kicked the bed and said, hurry up and pack up. We are leaving this hospital now. The boss said that he would change a bigger hospital for the two of you. Come with us now. Xiao Chen was more unwilling to believe this, because he felt that Zhang Cation would not put him in a bigger room for no reason. Unless he encountered something that required a room change, he would never look for such a thing. What happened to him? Zhang Cation had no way to speculate on these unknown things. The boy who helped him in the afternoon said to him, you go with him first. I will help you escape on the way. Believe me, I will do it. The little gangster in front of him seemed to be very sincere. Maybe he could really help him escape. After thinking about it, Xiao Chen looked at him and his eyes gradually became kinder, but soon he thought of something, then shook his head and said in despair. But if you help me escape, what about my sister? If she is here, I will come back sooner or later, otherwise they will harm my sister. Xiao Chen is not a fool now. He can guess that Zhang Cation really trapped himself in this place, because he thought that if he escaped, it would serve as a favorable witness to prove that the products developed by their company were pirated products of Lin Feng's company, so he must not leave this place. For this reason, Zhang Cation will definitely use all kinds of means to prevent himself from escaping, which is why he always allows himself to see his sister once after a period of time. Isn't it because he is afraid that he will really run away with his sister? But the more he thought about it, the more unwilling he felt. The gangster next to him scratched his head. He seemed to be thinking about how to let Xiao Chen escape with his sister. After a while, he suddenly thought of an idea, and a light flashed in his eyes. He said to Xiao Chen, I know how to take your sister away with me. Seeing his extremely excited look, Xiao Chen looked at him in disbelief and said, are you serious? Is there really a way to let my sister leave with me? His eyes flashed with excitement, if he could really do this. Then he was willing to believe this gangster, and the other party nodded and said quickly, I know if there is a way to help him leave with you, because I know that every night, they will take turns to wait outside your ward. But in the meantime, some of them will go to the bathroom to smoke or play games. I can take advantage of this time to transfer your sister, because they are more concerned about your illness. On the contrary, they are not concerned about your sister. They all think that someone like your sister lying on the hospital bed would never disappear for no reason, and you were beaten like this by them. When he said this, Xiao Chen himself gradually felt how reliable his plan was. So he smiled, stood up and said to the gangster very seriously, "If I can really escape, I will definitely be grateful to you in the future. I am really grateful to you. What this group of people did to me before, I will never involve you. You haven't told me your name yet." The gangster smiled and touched his head. "Does this count as a good deed?" He was stunned for a moment, then said to him, "My name is Duzaya Ateo." Xiao Chen nodded. "Okay, Duzaya Ateo, in the next opportunity, I hope you don't tell anyone. Whether you can take me and my sister away depends on your merit." This time, Xiao Chen really wanted to believe that Duzaya Ateo in front of him could be saved, so after he got out. In fact, the first thing was to settle his sister, and the second thing was to take Duzaya Ateo to explain everything to Lin Feng. Then he hoped that Lin Feng would forgive him once, because the next consumption would make the place where the case was handled kick all these gangsters. They have committed many evil things. Even if they have not done anything that harms the world, they have done these disgusting things. Moreover, it is not certain whether there are any of them who have not killed anyone. Then Xiao Chen continued to pretend to be cultivating himself on the hospital bed. Maybe it was because he was particularly flattering to the other gangsters yesterday, so no one bothered him at this time. And everyone was busy preparing for the transfer at night, and no one cared whether he had any problems. Chapter 1246 Xiao Chen's sister is missing. At night, a gangster kicked the door open and said to Xiao Chen, "You can leave with us now. The car is waiting downstairs. Let's go." The gangster started to take Xiao Chen off the bed without saying anything. Xiao Chen followed him down and looked at Duzaya Ateo next to him. The other party nodded and quietly retreated. When Xiao Chen sat in the car with this man, he pulled the other party's hand and said in a pleading manner, "Brother, let my sister leave with me. She lives alone in this hospital. I am very worried." "What are you yelling about? Of course we know to take your sister with us, otherwise the boss will beat us to death, but she is in another car behind. Your car can't fit a corpse like his." Ho ha ho ha. Xiao Chen's sister was obviously not dead, but was seriously injured and unconscious on the bed, but she was said to be a corpse. This really made Xiao Chen very angry. But he also held back, clenched his fists tightly, knowing that all this would definitely change completely after tonight. So he had to calm down. After 15 minutes, seeing that the car behind him had not sent any message to leave, the thug who was guarding Xiao Chen called him quickly. "Hey, how are you doing? Why don't you drive quickly?" The man behind him said to him with a trembling voice, "Xiao Chen's sister is missing here." After hearing this, he quickly said loudly, "What do you mean she is missing? How is this possible? Why don't you go find her quickly? How did you bring her here? Why don't you keep an eye on her?" Now it was useless to say anything. They quickly took people down to find her because if they couldn't find her, they couldn't just ignore other things and leave with Xiao Chen. This was absolutely impossible. The people behind him quickly ran down from the car and went back to the hospital to look for them. They still didn't believe that this person would disappear in the hospital for no reason. At this time, Duzaya Ateo, who was hiding in the morgue in the hospital, was hiding in this place with Xiao Chen's sister. He had to look at Xiao Chen's petite and pitiful sister, and she made a close-up move towards him again. "Don't be afraid, little sister. I'll take you out to find your brother. Your brother told me before that this time he'll take you away with him, and you won't be controlled by the boss anymore." After hearing what he said, Xiao Chen's sister nodded. There was a fear in her eyes. After all, she was still very worried about whether she could meet her brother. In the past few years, she was always transferred to various hospitals by her children. But she could only see her brother once a month, which was a big psychological blow to her as a young girl. So what Duzaya Ateo said to her just now? It can be said that it was the only time in the past few years that he saw the light. He was very nervous and afraid that someone would crawl to this place. Because of his incomparable encounter, as long as those people found out that he had escaped, they would definitely use various means to search for him, just like he had wanted to run away secretly before. As a result, he was beaten up after being found, and that time he was beaten very seriously, so he stayed in the hospital for 2 more months. So this time he was really scared, and Duzaya Ateo seemed to be able to see the worry of the little girl. So she couldn't help but say to him, "Don't worry, we will definitely be able to escape. You have to believe in your brother or hazy, okay?" The little girl nodded and said nothing more. Because she didn't want to burden anyone, whether he could escape or not, it didn't matter to him. As long as her brother Xiao Chen could leave, it would be fine. After a while, the gangsters did come to the morgue. They didn't even let this place go. One of them said, "Hurry up and find it. After finding it, let's leave quickly. It's so scary in here. You haven't killed anyone in here. What are you afraid of? Even if these corpses are souls, they won't summon your soul or mine." No matter what they said, they still searched the morgue, but found nothing. Because Du Xiaotao and the others were lying in a morgue, it was impossible for them to hide in it. They didn't dare to open the white cloths covering the bodies one by one, so they naturally couldn't find anyone. Let's go quickly, it's so unlucky, it's impossible for anyone to hide in this place. But if there's no one here, where did they go? Those two guys. From what they said, they should have discovered that Du Xiaotao had escaped with Xiao Chen's sister, so they were full of anger when they treated Du Xiaotao. As long as Du Xiaotao was caught, his end would be very tragic, so Du Xiaotao had no way back now, until both of them left. Du Xiaotao came out, patted the little girl next to him and said to him, "It's okay, little sister, come out. Wait half an hour, I'll take you out, and you can see your brother." After hearing what Du Xiaotao said, Xiao Chen's sister sighed and walked out. She didn't dare to reflect on herself, but she actually succeeded. "Thank you, big brother. If my brother knew that you have such a good friend, he would definitely thank you. I don't have anything to thank you for, but I hope to have a chance to repay you in the future." Du Xiaotao looked at Xiao Chen and his brother and sister, who were so grateful and kind, and he felt a little bit reluctant. Because he had done too many wrong things, it was useless to say these words of regret now. He could only atone for himself by bringing the little girl in front of him safely to Xiao Chen. On the other side, Zhang Yuxi was so angry after receiving the call that he cursed. "You bunch of trash, what did I tell you to keep an eye on those two people, and now one of them is missing. Without this person, there is no way to continue threatening Xiao Chen. It's just trash." The gangsters who were scolded on the other side of the phone did not dare to say a word of rebuttal. He kept comforting Zhang Yuxi, "Boss, we have really tried our best to find that woman, and we should find her soon. Boss, don't worry, we will definitely break his legs when he comes back this time." Zhang Yuxi's eyes were dizzy. If the gangsters were in front of him now, he would definitely punch them. "You broke the other person's legs. If you don't find the person, then I will break your legs first." After saying that, Zhang Yuxi hung up the phone mercilessly. It was useless to talk to this group of rubbish anymore. It would be better for him to take people to look for them again. He didn't believe that there was anyone in the whole Jiangcheng who dared to take in these two people. That would be risking their lives. So after Zhang Yuxi left, he immediately notified everyone else to follow him. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1247. A Happy Day. On the other side. In the car, the gangster who just hung up the phone, he glanced at Xiao Chen. "It's all your fault, you idiot, that I got scolded by the boss just now. I will let you have a taste of my power today." After he said that, he just wanted to punch Xiao Chen, but how could Xiao Chen tolerate him again at this time? He dodged directly. In addition, Xiao Chen recovered quite well in the hospital in the past 2 days, so after dodging the opponent's circle, he reached out to hold the opponent's fist. Then he bent it hard. With a sound of caca, his bone was broken directly. Xiao Chen looked at these people viciously, as if he wanted to eat them. "Before, it was because of my sister, so I had to endure it. Now your sister has been taken away, so I don't need to work for you guys anymore." The gangster looked at him in surprise. "Why do you look like something is going to happen? Did you tell that guy to take your sister away? You damned guy, wait until the boss finds your sister, and we'll see how we'll destroy you." Xiao Chen twisted his neck. He had been enduring very hard these days. This time he finally had a chance to stand out, so how could he let go of this opportunity and not give the other party a few hits? Anyway, there were only him and the gangster in the whole car. As long as there were not many people, he would have a chance to defeat the other party. So with a few punches, Xiao Chen beat the other party to a bloody mess. Xiao Chen didn't stop until the gangster started to scream and beg for mercy. After all, He was not a killer like those gangsters, and he didn't know the masses. So the gangster was left in the car by Xiao Chen, and at this time, Xiao Chen got off the car to find his sister. This night was destined to be a very extraordinary night. Lin Feng's good friend Li Tian had sent people to keep an eye on Zhang Keishan long before, so Zhang Keishan had to go out at night. This news reached Li Tian's ears at once. Li Tian immediately asked several people to follow Zhang Keishan's car, and then called Lin Feng. If your guess is right, then Zhang Keishan may have really captured Xiao Chen. After he said this, Lin Feng also reacted at once. That's right, if the guess is right, then it should be the method that Zhang Keishan likes to use. That is to catch Xiao Chen's sister, so that Xiao Chen can be controlled. After Lin Feng calmed down, he said to his childhood friend Li Tian, "Then it depends on you now. As long as Xiao Chen and his sister can be caught, then someone will expose what Zhang Keishan did." Although Lin Feng didn't know how much Xiao Chen had done for Zhang Keishan in the past few years, and how many of his company's documents he had taken, but he believed that Xiao Chen really had no choice, although he should indeed be severely punished. But this doesn't mean that he is hopeless. As long as he can turn back, Lin Feng is still willing to give him a chance to let him continue to stay in the institute. On the other side, Li Tian said in a brisk voice, "Don't worry, I'll take care of this." The people on Li Tian's side acted very obediently. The people following Zhang Keishan were not ordinary people. Several of them were born as retired soldiers. So it was very easy for them to let Zhang Keishan down, and they were not discovered behind the car. They didn't get out of the car until they saw Zhang Keishan enter a very secret alley, and then they chased him. After arriving at the location, they followed and found that there was actually a nest of thieves in this place. Zhang Keishan saw someone coming from behind, and said in a very angry voice, "Who are you?" But these people didn't say anything, they just went up and beat Zhang Keishan and caught him. Zhang Keishan said to them, "Let me go, or you will bear the consequences. Do you know who I am?" "Ha ha ha, we don't care who you are. We just need to complete the tasks assigned to us. Entrepreneurs like you should have gotten out of your current industry long ago." Zhang Keishan was a little shocked because these people knew his identity. He immediately realized that they were his equal enemies. He was really too careless. He didn't bring 2 bodyguards with him at such a late hour. He stared at these people fiercely and said, "You guys look like martial artists too. If you are willing to let me go and send me back, I can give you double the price." Unfortunately, these people are of high quality. People will not be bought by him so easily. Don't worry about it. We will never believe what you say and will not go with you. Instead of talking so much nonsense here, you might as well think about how you will be unlucky next. These people tied up Zhang Keishan, and then rushed into the nest and got rid of all the other gangsters. Only then did they find that there was really evidence that Zhang Keishan had broken the law. So they called Li Tian quickly. "Boss, we have found Zhang Keishan's guy here. He is in our hands." "Yes, we now have perfect evidence of his crime. As long as this evidence is taken out, he should be close to bankruptcy." Zhang Keishan stared at these people fiercely, watching them take away all the data in his small room. Then he took him to the car, but when he was in the car, he forced the door open and jumped down. Because he was quite familiar with this area. So he also knew very well that as long as he jumped down, they would never die, but would only be injured. But he will use the last period of time to destroy all the evidence that should be eliminated. After Zhang Keishan jumped out of the car, because they couldn't park casually on the road, otherwise it would be easy to have a car accident, so the others could only watch Zhang Keishan run away. Damn it, he actually ran away. How should we go to entertain the boss? Don't worry, we have the evidence now, so what if he goes back, unless he moves quickly enough, but even if he moves quickly, it is impossible to destroy all the evidence. Let's hurry up and go back to hand over the evidence to the boss. These people drove very well and went to Li Xianpan to report the matter. For Zhang Keishan's accident this time, Li Tian must have been very happy after hearing it. He will also tell Lin Feng the news, and then Lin Feng will have one less competitive business rival. This is really a happy day. Chapter 1248. You have to pay the price after all. Lin Feng's company. After talking about developing products to prolong life, those maggot-like opponents rushed up one by one. This time, Zhang Keishan was the one who died. Zhang Keishan escaped from the car and wiped his forehead and the corner of his mouth. Because he jumped too quickly, these 2 places were scratched and some blood flowed out. And his bones were broken, and he looked miserable. This made him even more annoyed. This was the first time he was so embarrassed after being a business tycoon for so many years, even if his enemies were on the commercial ship. But he had never suffered such a serious injury, but it didn't matter. The most important thing now was to go back and destroy the evidence. He called the doctor who was doing the research. He took out his mobile phone and trembled as he pressed the caller. "Hello, is this Dr. Nathan? How is the data report you are studying now? If it hasn't been studied yet, then don't study it for the time being, and then destroy the data." Unexpectedly, he called just to talk about this matter. Dr. Nathan on the other side heard this. He laughed and said to him, "Mr. Zhang, don't worry. That report is still very useful to me. I can help you destroy it. His data must be kept as a backup." After hearing what he said, Zhang Yuxi was a little unhappy and questioned him. "What do you mean? Why do you want to keep a copy of the data?" At this time, Dr. Nathan finally revealed his true face. He said to Zhang Yuxi on the phone very sarcastically, "Don't you understand? Mr. Zhang, all I did was to get your data. Do you think that only you, as Lin Feng's business enemy, want to get his data? As a representative sent by our country, of course I also want all this, but I can't get it openly, so I can only think of other ways. That's why I hid beside you, wanting to get so much real data, and now I have the things. Do you really expect me to make a decent product for you?" After hearing this, Zhang Yuxi's hand holding the phone was shaking all the time. He wanted to crush the phone in his hand. The damn Nathan had been deceiving him all along. He thought that the other party was really a foreign expert sent to assist him. Moreover, he had paid so much money to the other party for this research fee, but it was not in vain. The other party had been using him to obtain data. Now the mobile phone in Lin Feng's company was in the hands of the other party. What should he do? Isn't his product far away? After thinking of this, Zhang Yuxi said loudly, "Nathan, you are great. Wait, when I have time, I will let you know what price you have to pay for stealing things from me." Zhang Yuxi didn't say anything more. After hanging up the phone, he picked up his suit jacket and prepared to go back. But at this moment, he suddenly realized something. That is, the data that Dr. Nathan was talking about just now had been stolen by him. And the backup has not been deleted, which means that some of the data left in the entire laboratory building are false. Or it is some very superficial data, and the most real and core data has been taken away by Dr. Nathan. Doesn't that mean that even if Lin Feng's company finds out about his own company, it won't be able to find out that he has stolen trade secrets? After thinking about this, he completely relaxed. There is always a way out. I thought I was going to be discovered, and I didn't have time to clean up the data. Thanks to Nathan for not following my orders, I was able to escape for the time being. After being happy, Zhang Yuxi realized another problem. That is, when Dr. Nathan brings all the data back to their country, they will produce drugs that have the same effect as Lin Feng's, and the same properties but different prices. Because the whole world knows that the medical level of Longuo cannot surpass that of Western countries. So in this way, isn't it equivalent to giving Lin Feng's data to Western countries for nothing, and you can't make any money? After thinking about this, Zhang Yuxi punched the nearby electric pole again. "Damn Nathan, when I have time, I will definitely give you a good beating. You actually sneaked into an international organization and cheated me of my things, so just wait. You will have to pay the price in the end." After venting his anger, Zhang Yuxi returned to his company. At this time, he saw that the phone showed that it was Hu calling him, and he threw the phone aside at once. He didn't want to pay any attention. Let others do whatever they want, anyway, there is nothing now. Xiao Chen and his sister have disappeared, and Lin Feng's company data has been stolen by the scammers. If Lin Feng wants to make a big deal about this matter, there is indeed no evidence, because one witness alone is not enough. Even if Xiao Chen really dares to testify as a witness, he will have to bear legal responsibility, so he is not afraid of this now. So Xiao Chen and his sister are no big deal for children. On the other side, Duziao Ateo is taking Xiao Chen and his sister away from this place, because there are too many gangsters in this area, and it is inevitable that some of them are Zhang Yuxi's people. So once they see him, they will definitely be unhappy. You guys bear with it for a while. After an hour, we will be able to reach another more remote place. In that case, we can temporarily avoid those people. At this time, Xiao Chen said to him, "Forget it, let's go directly to the place where my boss of the company is. I believe he will be very willing to take in half of us." His sister next to him looked at him with some concern. "Brother, are you really okay?" Although he didn't know what his brother did in these years, he also knew that his brother betrayed the company he worked for himself. "I heard that it was a high-level research institute. Such a good job, his brother has missed it. He has a sister who drags down his brother." Xiao Chen touched the little girl's head and said to him, "Don't worry, brother will be fine. Brother will earn money for you to go to school and let you live a normal life. How could there be any problem?" Just when Xiao Chen and his sister felt that the good days between the two brothers were coming, they took a taxi and drove towards Lin Feng's company. Chapter 1249 Tip-off. At this time, the doctor and all the researchers in the research laboratory building in the company were all there. If they went there, they might have the chance to see Lin Feng. But they never expected that the driver of the car was sent by someone with ulterior motives. Just after getting on the car, Xiao Chen reported a location and the driver started the car without saying anything, not even reminding the passengers to fasten their seat belts. But the direction he drove was gradually deviating from the company, and he drove towards a suburban area where there were not many people, which made him alert all of a sudden. "Master, what do you mean by this? It seems that the destination we set is not this place. Where are you taking us now?" The driver stared at the few people in the rearview mirror, just two young men and a woman. It is not impossible to deal with them, so he sneered and said, "I advise you not to struggle. The place you are going to now is indeed not your destination, but it is the destination of your life." The driver was very arrogant. After saying this, Xiao Chen and Du Xiaotao next to him were both shocked. Xiao Chen sneered and said, "I didn't expect that Zhang Yuxi's people would catch up with us. But it doesn't matter. If you want to keep us, then let's see if you have the ability." Looking at the road in front of him, he was heading towards the suburbs. Moreover, the terrain here is relatively flat, and there will be no buildings to hit, and there are relatively few vehicles. So there is no need to worry about whether there will be a car accident if he chooses to stop the driver from driving. So Xiao Chen took action directly. He directly hit his head with his fist. He could see that he seemed to be a martial artist, but he actually dodged it directly. The driver took out a big thing at this time, and then opened it directly on the roof of the car with a bang. After hearing the sound, Xiao Chen's sister was so scared that she hugged her head and screamed. Xiao Chen saw it and roared angrily. "You bastard, put your stuff away." The driver laughed and said, "You can ask me to put my stuff away, but you have to sit in the car obediently. Otherwise, the big guy next to me is a bullet without eyes. If it accidentally shoots through your body, you can't blame me." After saying this, these people dared not move anymore. Xiao Chen didn't dare to challenge the driver because of his sister. But Du Xiaotao was afraid. After all, he was just a teenage girl. Although he did some bad things, he was not a little cowardly. So for him, he was able to help Xiao Chen and the others escape the education mechanism together. He did the bravest thing. Now facing the big guy, a weapon that could kill people. How could he have the courage to confront him directly? But Xiao Chen didn't blame him. After all, he was afraid of something. Although he didn't know where the driver would take them, they all looked honest, so the driver didn't drive the big guy anymore, but just held it in his hand. It would not leave his palm at all, so after seeing this scene, he felt that he had little chance to grab it directly. He said to his sister, "Don't be afraid, Xiao, don't worry, as long as your brother is here, you will never get hurt." Xiao nodded in his arms, tears in her eyes, and she looked very scared. But as long as he could be with his brother, he felt that he would not be afraid even if he encountered danger. What's more, he believed that the other party would protect him. After about half an hour, even if the car drove to a hillside where it was about to turn. At this time, Xiao Chen glanced at Du Xiaotao next to him, and entrusted his sister to him. He rushed up with a plop, trying to grab the big guy in the driver's hand. The driver was also turning the steering wheel in a panic. Because he didn't drive the big guy, he also had to ensure that his car would not fall off. "You crazy man, you really don't know it's you. We will all die then." He never expected that Xiao Chen and his group would dare to fight him, so after he said this, Xiao Chen became even crazier and said to him, "You can't blame me for this, haha. If it weren't for you insisting on not letting us go, we wouldn't go against you. I know you were sent by Zhang Yuxi and his group, but it doesn't matter. If you're going to die, you don't have to apologize to him or explain to him." Since Xiao Chen had already snatched the big guy, he threw him off the cliff with one hand, and the driver could really watch it with his own eyes, helpless and irreversible. This time, even if the driver stabilized the car, Xiao Chen punched him directly. Bang bang bang, the other party screamed with fists. The driver begged for mercy loudly. I was wrong and you will let me go. After seeing him like this, Xiao Chen said to Du Xiaotao next to him. Hurry up and take my sister out of the car. I'll drive now. We have to get rid of this driver. Anyway, this driver was working for Zhang Yuxi, so Xiao Chen thought that as long as he killed him, he couldn't be blamed. After saying this, Du Xiaotao nodded, okay. So they got rid of the driver. Don't come over here. You've already climbed this hill. The people who should come will catch you all in a while. Let me go now. Maybe I will beg you for mercy in a while. If you kill me now, it will not do you any good. Xiao Chen was really hesitant at this time. After all, he still wanted to accompany his sister, so he felt that he didn't want to be involved in another case. So he kicked the driver aside, but knocked him unconscious with a stone next to him, and then said to Du Xiaotao next to him, I still remember a little bit of the way we came just now. You help me get my sister into the car, and we will drive down now. After experiencing this thrilling car accident, Xiao Chen hugged Xiao next to him to rest. Then he asked Du Xiaotao to call and inform Lin Feng's laboratory first. After all, he was going back to surrender, so he needed to explain the situation clearly, so that Lin Feng would not believe what he said. At the same time, they also sent back a few photos of the car accident scene. Chapter 1250, a bonus of 10 million. On the other side, after receiving the text messages and photos they sent, everyone in the institute was very happy. Great, I didn't expect Xiao Chen to contact us on his own initiative. We all thought he was in trouble. A research colleague next to him said, didn't you see what the text message said? He said they were in danger. Someone almost wanted to kill them just now. Fortunately, Xiao Chen and his team reacted in time. Otherwise, they would not be in this world now. Let's tell the boss about this. I believe the boss will be very happy after knowing it. A group of researchers immediately called Lin Feng. After all, such a piece of news is really important to Lin Feng. After receiving the call, Lin Feng's voice came from the other side. Hello, what's wrong? What happened? The staff of the institute said very happily, Boss, we have good news to tell you, that is, Xiao Chen is back. And he just sent us a message saying that he would come to meet us later, but they are in a bit of trouble now. Lin Feng was a little surprised. He didn't expect that he asked someone to find Xiao Chen and his team, but didn't find them. Instead, they ran away from somewhere else. Lin Feng was slightly stunned, and then he said, you said they wanted to find me, tell me how he told you. The man replied, Boss, Master Chen just said in the message that they are now on the top of a mountain and they are in a car accident. The group of people driving seemed to want to kill him. It's just that he solved it the other way around, so now he has to wait for a while for the car repairman to come or see if we have a suitable car to pick them up, otherwise, they will have to wait until the next morning to get down the mountain. Lin Feng understood it after hearing it. It must be because of what Zhang Yuxi did that Xiao Chen was forced into a desperate situation. As for why they almost had a car accident, it doesn't take much thought to figure it out. It must be that Zhang Yuxi's people wanted to kill Xiao Chen and his brother and sister. That's why they fled to the mountain. Fortunately, nothing happened, otherwise all their efforts would be in vain. Lin Feng nodded and said, don't worry, I will send someone to the mountaintop you mentioned to pick them up. Now you just wait, I will tell you when they arrive. The people in the research institute were very happy after hearing this. They were really afraid that their colleague would not come back. But now with Lin Feng's promise, they all believed that everything Lin Feng said was true. Okay, boss, we will wait for your news now. They didn't dare to disturb Lin Feng too much. After all, they were just research staff invited by Lin Feng's research institute. They didn't have the qualifications to ask Lin Feng directly about the situation inside, even if Lin Feng didn't tell them. They had no choice, so after hanging up the phone, they could only wait for Lin Feng to call them. Otherwise, they would not get any news about Xiao Chen. But Lin Feng immediately called Li Tian and woke him up. Li Tian might have fallen asleep when he answered the phone. He asked with some sleepiness in his voice, what happened? Lin Feng. Don't worry, if you are here for Xiao Chen's matter, I have already told my subordinates, they will tell me when they have news. Lin Feng said to him speechlessly, what time is it now? You still said that you should wait for your subordinates to pass on some news to me. Don't wait. My people have already told me. After Lin Feng said this, Li Tian on the opposite side became alert. He sat up from the bed, and then it was Lin Feng on the phone who asked, "What happened? Why did Xiao Chen suddenly call you? Could it be that he is really not missing? I just accidentally ran away for a long time and didn't contact you." After all, Li Tian himself is also a shareholder in this project, so he is very concerned about this matter. But after hearing what he said, Lin Feng shook his head and said, "How is this possible? Since it has been preliminarily determined that he was forcibly taken away by someone, then it is naturally correct. We found him this time not because we were the first to find him, but because he took the initiative to contact us, and he also said that the situation just now was very dangerous and almost killed someone. So I'm going to send a cart to pick them up now. They are now on the top of a mountain." Listening to what Lin Feng said, his heart was really up and down. Fortunately, he was relieved when he said that the other party was fine. That's good, that's good. I almost thought that something really happened to them. In that case, then I can ask those gangsters under my command to go back and rest first. After all, this is not necessary. Lin Feng nodded. Li Tian's voice came from the phone next to him again. "Now that the person has been found, shouldn't you start dealing with Zhang Yuxi? You two are business rivals, but he treated your staff like that. No matter what, this account should be settled." Although Lin Feng and Li Tian have not yet confirmed whether Xiao Chen is a spy sent by Zhang Yuxi, at this time, Lin Feng and Li Tian have the same idea in their hearts. It is important to teach Zhang Yuxi a lesson first, so Lin Feng quickly made up his mind. "Okay, I'll listen to you. Anyway, we are about to hold a press conference. I will no longer pretend that I didn't see these bad things Zhang Yuxi did this time. Just wait. I will send a private detective to their company in the next 2 days to find out all these things. When the press conference is held, it will just happen to expose this scandal in their company, which is also a good thing for me." Lin Feng didn't care about some things with Zhang Yuxi at the beginning, not because he didn't know what the other party had done. It was because he didn't have the idea to care. But now Lin Feng actually had no worries, so he had to use the worst means to deal with Zhang Yuxi. He immediately called the detectives he was using, one of whom was still playing games. After answering Lin Feng's call, he said in surprise, "Boss, do we have work to do now?" Lin Feng nodded, and then said to them on the phone, "Yes, now I want you to check something. If you can find it, your bonus will be 10 million. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.